So, we come to the end of our story. Eons before the ancient Magi, an energy that came to be known as chaos brought forth the first of us all, and the strongest of those rose to power. But with power can come corruption, and that power remained for all too long. Now, the board has been reset, for better or worse. The decisions made by only a few today will shape the world of Lacrin forevermore. For stories I may never tell, for stories you may never hear. So let us read this, the final page, and cherish what stories we had together. This is the story of Lacrin.
All right. We're ready, yes? You
Well, I
understand your
believe so.
roles?
Yes. These robes are a little bit strange, but I got it. I can be an inquisitor, right?
It's
If we-
easy, really.
Look down on you
Oh, yeah.
like this.
Well, we
and-
don't. Not like that.
You're shreds, right?
It's more like.
Newbies.
shreds, right?
Green,
And-
fresh-faced recruits, whatever.
Right.
And secret pockets.
And that's not going to be weird, us being recruits at our.
No, considering we've lost almost every member. Your, replacements.
All right. Just thought I'd ask. All right. And
Yeah.
it's probably fine if we just don't talk, right?
Yeah,
It's
keep your heads
normal.
down.
Right.
Keep your
It will be
voices low.
best.
Got it.
Did you
Head-
want accents, though? Did you want us to do accents?
Doesn't
Heads-
matter.
Down, voices low.
Okay.
Accent's optional, got it.
I'm a shrub. Shred.
Shred.
Just,
Right, and just don't talk.
yeah,
All right.
leave the talking
I just-
to us.
Right. Okay.
Got it.
I mean,
I can do that.
All right. Reggie, he's going to be staying here unless anything goes wrong and we all, kick the bucket today. We're going to need someone to stay and back up an account of what we've discovered so far.
I'm sorry, what? You want one of us to stay behind?
I'll be staying. Reginald
Just-
walks in. He's not dressed in the Inquisition wear, but he does have a big bag filled with stuff, mostly items and books and things. You're all kind of stood around in this huge manor house at the northern end of Bologna. Each of you with an Inquisitor's robe on. Really, that's it. You don't have any other identifying factors. Most Inquisitors get something like a badge. Those badges are magical, so they're kind of redundant now anyway, but they usually have a few extra elements that identify them as Inquisitors. However, you guys are really just in the robes. That's really all that Worston could get his hands on yesterday. It's pretty early and it is raining quite heavily outside. The sort of grungy, bleak, misty drizzle of the last few days has turned into pretty constant downpour overnight. Worston is carrying his rifle over one shoulder. You guys will have your full array of weapons. It's no different to how you would normally approach things. I think the twins look a little uncomfortable. Kalugi kind of pocketing, a drink here and a flask there. and Zyra is incredibly uncomfortable. She insisted on keeping her armor on underneath the robe, so she just looks ridiculous, and it's kind of obvious, but nobody was able to overpower her and stop her from doing it this way. So she's wearing a very large robe that is in fact not a new one and did belong to Bob, who is upstairs. So it's covered in dirt and ripped pieces, and though you can't see it in the black fabric, Bob's blood. Worston walks towards the doorway, looks outside of a window, double checking. He's been doing it a little more frequently as the morning has rolled on, and turns to you all and says,
Right, we're gonna head to the fortress. We're gonna be meeting with High Reeve Esil, right? He's got access to the dungeons.
Right. I breathe Esel, but we don't need to say that. We don't need to talk to him or anything. We just need
Shouldn't
to
say anything. Shreds
nothing
don't
at all.
talk
Yeah, just
unless they're spoken to.
Right. Okay.
yeah, that's a
I
good
can
roll.
do that. Right. Okay.
We're going to visit with Grim. He's the only contact that I've got at the fortress. So, we'll be lucky to be going anyway. Probably not going to get another chance, so let's not blow it. All right?
Okay.
Well, we're due in
that's not
20
gonna
minutes.
Make it any easier on us. That just raises the pressure and makes me a little bit more anxious.
Yeah, how could we screw this up? Like, how could
Okay,
we
well,
blow it in theory?
That's taking it a little too far because I'm
Oh,
sure if
you know. Maybe a loud voice or doing something stupid at the gate that gets us access revoked.
Just
Okay.
Right.
heads down, mouths shut.
heads down, mouth shut. Got it.
Right, anything you need to get done, get it done now. We've got to leave.
What would we need to get done?
I don't know. Do you need to piss?
Well,
I
what,
don't know. Do I? No, I think
what
I'm
if
okay.
you have to pass some gas? Is that too
You
impolite?
can do that
Maybe
in
you
another
should just-
room.
Oh, in
Yeah.
another room. Okay.
I'm gonna finish my tea really fast. I'll.
Well, we don't have. No.
Huh.
All right.
No, I don't know. I don't need it.
Anything
I don't need it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
let's-
I'm ready.
We can't screw this up, right?
We'll be fine. Don't worry.
We won't.
We'll be
We
fine.
won't.
We'll be okay.
All right. If we're ready, we're ready.
I guess we're ready as we'll ever be.
All right.
Yep.
See you later, Reggie.
Worston turns and opens the door and steps outside into the rain. He looks up, overcast day. It's probably kind of mid-morning. Very bleak and cold outside today. The raindrops large. Everybody following him?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I would give Reggie a hug if he'd let me before we leave.
He gives you a short hug. You as well, Cairo. Nods to both of you as you leave. Good luck. I'll be, well, hopefully here.
Be
when you're
safe.
done. Yes.
Take
You
care
too.
of Bob.
Well, that's the plan. I do so hope I don't have to carry him out.
I hope so too.
Make sure you walking back comfortably and not carried back yourselves.
We'll try.
They're a sneaky lot, the fortress sometimes.
Well, we can be sneaky too, right?
Well,
I mean,
Yes.
Sure.
We did
Yes.
fight. We did
Yep.
fight a god.
We-
Come
we
on,
have
what are
Ellie,
we
the
afraid of? A
sneaky
couple of fortress guards? This is absurd. We'll be fine.
Yes.
Let's go.
Of course.
Speaking of like sneaky, Ellie's like nowhere to be seen. She's already outside and everything.
Yeah, she's in like a bell tower somewhere, about to jump off into a bale of hay.
I wouldn't go that far. That's unrealistic.
You guys step out, maybe Hippo walking out last and closing the door, and you start to head north through the north end of Bologna. It's a pretty busy day. It's been almost 3 weeks since the fall of magic and the kind of catastrophe of that. Most of the town seems to have come back to a semblance of normality, at least on the surface, and for the most part you just see people moving about, going about their morning business, a few carts trundling up and down the road. At this north side of town, it's more nobility. You can see a lot more people moving around in fine clothes, as opposed to the usual riffraff of the low town, Kalugis and bows. You're seeing few people fire you some odd looks, but for the most part, every time somebody looks at you, their eyes are immediately cast away and down, recognizing that you're almost certainly Inquisition of some sort. If you're not Inquisition, you're probably a troop of mages, not necessarily too powerful anymore, but people are used to avoiding the eyes of a group of high, powerful mages moving through the streets.
I could get used to this.
Worston leads you to the north end of town and then past the last set of houses and merchants to an open area. There's a small gap that leads up to the plateau. The fortress sits on a plateau at the very far northern end of town, and there is a bridge that you walk over. There are quite a few guards stationed here, but they don't stop you or anything. They're just stationed here in case of any sort of breach or attack or uprising and revolt. They mostly just kind of glance up and go back to their business. Then you follow a little incline up to a stairway, quite a large thing that leads up to the fortress plateau. And as you approach the fortress itself, it is of a strange and ancient design, really. It's quite Gothic looking. Many towers. It's more of a fortified village, very small little thing up on top of a plateau with a central kind of palatial looking building surrounded by many smaller little buildings, many towers, and its own kind of small walls. This used to be pretty much Bologna in its entirety. Is why the city was founded here on this natural plateau. A warring village at first that turned into the capital of Alexandria. And it's actually quite a beautiful sight as you move along. Although the day is overcast, you can see that there are lots of little waterfalls that add to the rivers and moats that surround the plateau and the entranceway, and then move and cascade down through Bologna and join the larger rivers that head west and south. The last small bridge takes you over to a gate, a large thing beside two walls, and a portcullis, the fortress and the eventual palace looming above you now. At the partially raised portcullis, there's a very elderly looking halfling, stood in very fine looking robes, and on his hip you can see a huge ring of about 50 keys. Next to him there's an armored drow elf standing with an umbrella over the halfling, and a particularly long thin blade at his hip. The drow and several of the watchmen now here up near the walls are standing in the Bologna Palace uniforms, which are very similar to the uniforms that you might have seen on the knights and guards and watch around town, but they have silver and blue linings. Several of them have a blue sort of short cape coming off of the back of their pauldrons. And as you walk up, you can see kind of into the palace area. There's a few people moving around in there, but for the most part, it's quite empty up here, save for a few militant types. It's quite heavily guarded up here. It really feels more like you're walking up to a military encampment than anything else, I'd think. As you approach, Worston makes sure to step forward first, and he doesn't hold out a hand like he would normally. He kind of does a half bow to this halfling man and says,
Hi, Revisor. Thank you for seeing us. I understand the circumstances are not ideal, but our investigation has led us to believe that Elden Grimm is directly involved with the attack on Lacrin and the fall of magic.
He glances back to all of you.
As you know, my team has been decimated. I have brought with me Inquisitor Ogul,
Points towards Cairo.
and the several shreds recruits in training.
The halfling kind of looks up at you all. He looks pretty old for a halfling. Halflings can usually hit around 300 or so in Lacrin, and you'd think that maybe he was pushing towards that, either that or he had a terrible diet. And he looks across each of you, these fine robes, dry, his boots clean, even in the mud underneath this portcullis. Glancing over you briefly, he returns his gaze to Worston and says, "Oh, of course, Inquisitor. Yeah, anything for the Inquisition, of course. We have a VIP guest taking care of much of the business in the palace. Frees up my hands to assist you today. Please follow me to the dungeons. It's a short walk. I hope your knees aren't as weak as mine. It's the stairway down. It's quite the trek." He glances over to the older-looking members under their robes and then turns about and immediately starts walking off. Worston turns to you, kind of shrugs a little, and begins to follow him.
Guest? Did he say guest? Hey, I just thought that was okay. All right.
Worston and Esel kind of take the lead. They step ahead of you. You feel that you can probably discuss quietly amongst yourselves a few things. You notice that two guards fall
They can't
in.
even hear me. They're too far forward. What's this about a guest? Do you know anything about this, Cairo? I don't know anything. Okay, well, Aura, do you sense anything?
And when she asked me that, I try using my nemesis skill to see if I can sense Deaveki being closer.
Everyone roll me a dice.
No. Sorry. Just came out.
Yay, yay. Oh, so no and Ippo with those.
Let's see here. Cairo 7, Ellie 2, Bo 3, Aura 7, Ippo 17s, Una 19. How are each of you feeling as you approach this place? Aura, don't tell me how you feel yet.
Well, since I rolled a 2, I'd say that Ellie is like really keeping the hood over her head because they might the Inquisition and the palace might know who she is with her ties to the Assassin's Guild. So I think like she's more so worried about getting spotted.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm at a 3, so my hands are clammy. I'm nervous and I'm sweaty. I'm a hot mess. My armpits are like waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there.
At a 7, and I've not been around a lot of shreds and trained a lot of new recruits, and so even faking it is this is just a weird situation for me to be around this many people pretending to be part of the Inquisition, and me newly having returned, so kind of nervous.
I'm worried, but anxious even, but I'm focused.
Right. Well, I rolled a 19, so I don't know what happened. I think it was like stage fright, and then the moment you got on stage, it disappeared. That's what happened to me. I could do this in my sleep. We fought a god. He should fear us. We're coming for him.
Yeah. Aura, you, well, KPP, have you ever had an anxiety or a panic attack in real life before?
Yes.
Do you think you could describe that for us?
It's like you can't catch your breath and the world starts swimming around you and your brain goes into overload and you feel like you are out of control.
Yeah, I think that's how you feel. As you get closer and closer to this portcullis and these gates, and you hear Worston speaking with this gentleman ahead of you, you just start to feel kind of a little overwhelmed. Maybe your mouth dries up. You start to feel like your legs are empty or wobbly a little disconnected maybe from your footfalls. You can feel yourself moving forward. You can feel your body moving through the motions, but you've now got this sense of dread, this strange sensation that washes over you. And as you pass underneath the portcullis and everybody else starts moving on around you, that feeling fades a little. fades a little, but I think it sticks with you for a moment as you begin to follow the High Reeve along the streets and roads that make up this kind of palace area. Right at the very center of this kind of relatively circular place, there is a pretty gothic looking palace, like something you might expect to see out of Dark Souls or Bloodborne, one of those kind of old looking rustic and not particularly well kept palaces, more of a battlement that seems to have been adapted a little over the years. That being said, there are like great windows that you can see all the way up the sides of this building on the towers that come off of the side of it. And a lot of them have stained glass and colored glass in the window, which is usually a sign of wealth and expensive. The Reeve, however, moves suddenly away from the northern route and then moves into a building, unlocking it with one of the keys on his loop of keys, and looks down into this stairwell. He turns around to everybody and says, "We'll be heading down here. At the bottom there's a set of guards, ghastly folk really, but they're friendly enough, so long as you're on the right side of the bars. Just follow me." And he begins to head down and down and down into an underground set of tunnels. Sconces on the walls light the tunnel relatively well with torches. But I think for the most part it's not a pleasant experience. Once you get down into the tunnels and the dungeons that are underneath the fortress here, you can see and hear many people immediately behind lots of dungeon doors and bars. They're pretty packed out. There is a person or multiple people in several of the jail cells down here. Moving along, you can see that the tunnels begin to split off into just multitudes of different directions. One T-junction turning into another T-junction, turning into another, as you can move in many different ways. And it becomes a kind of maze as you follow this halfling. There are lots of jailers, I would say, rather than guards. Big looking fellows, covered in scars and wounds, several of them with missing eyes, one of them with a missing nose, like they're constantly being attacked or dealing with escaping prisoners. At one point, a huge Goliath man turns and looks at you all. You hear him speak in a guttural tone. The twins turn suddenly and look at each other, and then they look up at you sooner, and then they kind of remember themselves as they're about to respond, but they're not to speak or do anything, and they put their staffs up and kind of nod at him and then begin to walk along. Tia turns back and looks at you sooner and points at her mouth.
No.
She nods and says, dirty. And then begins to walk
I
behind you.
grabbed Bo's hand, actually, because I know that we've had a little bit of time to talk over dinner, and I know he was in a place quite like this, and I imagine this might be pretty horrific to come back down here, so I just reach out and give his hand a good squeeze. Like, he'll be all right.
I return the squeeze and nod my head in thanks.
The Reeve leads you down these tunnels. For the most part, I think you probably know your way back. It's not like a crazy maze, but it's still very confusing as you wander through these tunnels. You can hear Worston speaking with the Reeve for a little while before Worston turns back and says, "Right, we're almost there. He's got his own cell.
It's a reinforced thing.
How long has he been here?
Well, 19 days.
And what about the rest of these people? What have they done?
Who knows? Try to break in, try to steal stuff. They could be spies. That dwarf there's probably from Darndaral, probably tried to kill the queen as well.
Could be spies? You mean you don't know for sure?
Not our business.
What is wrong with you?
What do you want me to do?
Have some sense of morals, I
All right.
guess.
But what if that one's a super murderer?
It's not a what-if situation. If he is a super murderer, then sure, he should be in there. But if we don't know, then he shouldn't be just sitting there. You shouldn't just be wandering around going, oh, I don't know. I'm sure they're in there for a good reason.
You want me to go to every single jail in the whole world and judge everyone
No.
individually and let them
No.
out based on my own judgment?
No, I'm just
I
saying.
look around the cells. Is there
this
anyone I
one-
notice, like recognize?
You roll me a
This
dice.
is the one that you're in charge of.
I'm not in
This is
charge
the
of
one
this
you're in
at all.
part of. Okay, well, you're not in charge, but you're part of a group or a crew that puts people you don't even know. You haven't even asked.
Not really my jurisdiction. This is local. We're sort of
Oh, all right. Right.
You hear Aura you like taking quick inhales of breath. They're just not as. The Inquisition's not what you think it is. Soon.
What?
They're just not. And I like look up underneath, peeping out from my hood. I
Are
think
you
some
all
of them are criminals too. I'm
Oh,
okay.
of course they are. They're all part of one big.
Look, this
sorry.
isn't our place. Also,
Okay, well, you're all part of one big clan that wants to keep the magic all for themselves, and magic isn't to be possessed; it's for everyone to have.
this is not the time.
All right. Well, I just thought it was important.
Good.
The halfling turns around and says, just up ahead here, right at the very end. He starts to walk towards a large door. Now, some of these jail cells have been open, barred things. You can see these kind of people, most of them relatively thin-looking or emaciated, weak-looking figures that have been treated quite poorly. You would assume it smells terrible down here. Then some of the doors are reinforced. You can see that they've had reinforcements around the edges. The oak of the door has got iron bars across it and things like that. You come to the end of this hallway. It's quite dark at this end. There's a sconce a little further off. And there's a single small tiny little window with two bars through the center of it. The halfling nods up and says, You need to speak through. You'll need to speak through that little hatch.
Yeah, can't you open it? He's not going to do anything.
Well, I'm afraid. Well, he killed a lot of people, and you'll have to speak to him through that little hatch there. I'm not opening that. Nope, no way.
All right, fine.
Worston kind of glances through the hatch and says,
I can't see anyone in there.
Well, good luck. The Reeve takes a few steps and steps away from the door, kind of leaning against a wall. He spins the keys around quite loudly and then puts them back on his hip.
Can I
Worston
look
turns
at
to you all.
Ellie? I look at Ellie and look at the keys.
See, we're already thinking alike.
I know we are.
How many guards are in this area within eyesight of us?
So far, you've counted 6 jailers on your walk. There isn't any of them down this end. You seem to have kind of gone off the beaten path a little bit.
Okay.
This is not a dead end, but it's at the end of one of the halls, splitting both left and right away from you and back the way you came. You don't see any guards in your immediate area. You have seen that they kind of roam around. There have been a couple of places where it opens out, or there are spaces where a jail cell would be, but instead it's got a desk and a few things in there.
What is the lock situation, and how close is the halfling Reeve?
You can see two locks which are at the very top of the door and the very bottom, which are bolts that just run across. Huge things, like not a tiny little thing, very, very large, probably quite hard to pull back, but two bolts. And then you can see that there is a standard looking lock, not the type of thing that would be very easy to pick, but with the key would unlock the door. Probably has a large iron key that goes with it.
And how close is that halfling? How close is the Reeve?
He steps away a little bit, maybe about 5 feet, 6 feet away from where you are.
So he's within earshot, but not necessarily see us?
He can see you, yeah. He's just off to one. He's just a little further down the corridor. He just gets out of the way because there's so many of you. It seems more like...
Oh, I want to use an ability. I'm just going to interrupt. I want to use an ability. As Ellie steps up. She's not... I think... She looks in the door with I forgot his name already.
Weston?
And then, who?
Weston or the Reeve?
Yeah, Weston.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she doesn't see, or like I wouldn't see Grim either. And so I'll step up to the halfling and I'll say, listen, you're going to need to open the door. We can't even see him. Trust, he's not going to get out. There's no way we're going to let him out. And then I'm going to use, don't you know who I am? And with that one, it's you impress common folk and minions by pretending to be someone notable. You initiate the ruse by giving a special wink to a party member, Suna. And each of your nearby party members must proclaim an incredible fact that creates your identity. For example, a party member might begin by calling attention to you as a fabled writer or a storied warrior or a sports hero. The other members of the party should build on this fake identity until everyone has contributed.
Oh, this is fun.
When everyone is finished, you draw a captive audience of nearby creatures who crowd around you.
All right.
Well, I guess that does it.
Yeah, that's
does it
fine.
have to be they crowd me?
You don't have to. No. It doesn't have to be so as specific as that. But yeah, you walk up and you I guess you would mention, so you're building Suna up as a famed person?
No,
myself.
Yes.
She's having you build her up. Okay,
Like, he doesn't want us to get in because he thinks Grim is, like, terrifying and a murderer, and Ellie's going to be like, don't you know who I am?
Yeah, okay, so what, who gives what accounts to back up anything or to reinforce
we have to
this
all do
claim?
it. We each do it, right?
Yeah.
So
Like,
I'll start.
I'll wink to Suna. She has to start.
I don't know if he knows who you are, but you're worried about that man in there and all the people that he's killed. Well, they call her Inquisitor Nothing because nothing survives.
Yeah. Oh. He kind of looks you up and down.
Honestly, I joined because of her.
True, if anything, he should be more afraid of her than we should be of him.
Yeah, in fact, we'll all stand outside, and she'll go in there alone, and you might want to ignore any screaming you hear, if you know what I mean.
She'll lock the door.
Well, I was unsure whether you should be executing him. I mean, we might not be finished with him. I'm not sure.
Oh, I
I
just
got
want to
real
talk.
close to him. Please, don't make him.
Oh, yes.
Don't want to make her angry.
Oh, no.
Word has it she can actually kill with a glance.
And that's not even using magic. You're just, your heart seizes in terror, and you're just, whoop, over.
That's really...
And as they say this, I get down to, like, his level crouching, and then I just have, like, a Cheshire cat grin.
He turns around and grabs Bo and hugs Bo.
Oh,
Instinctively. Oh, yes. Well, I suppose, yes. Here.
I
He
returned the hug.
he thrusts the loop of keys towards you, holding one of them up, and says, "You can open it.
Right.
Please throw the keys back out to me, though."
Okay. You might want to stand back. If you hear any screaming, just ignore it.
Yes. Yes, I will.
I'm going to walk back to the cell, but over my shoulder, I'm going to say, if looks could kill.
Weston looks at you. What are you doing?
Well, I know we're not supposed to talk, but we did it, didn't we?
I'm gonna grab the key and immediately walk over to the cell.
Now, wait a second. What if he does try to, hold on. Can I lean in? How far away is is the halfling. Can I lean
The
into the
halfling's
cell
like
and
6,
whisper something?
7. No, he's backing away.
Oh
from
yeah,
the
he's
door.
backing up. Okay, good, great. So I just lean up against it. Grim, it's Suna. We're gonna open the door now. We need you to not charge at us or do anything stupid, okay? We're here to get you out.
There's no response from inside the cell.
Okay, that's good. All right, go ahead, open the door.
Based on my senses, does this seem like he's gonna burst out? Like Ellie just going, I'm afraid the door's gonna bash on me as soon as I unlock it.
Both you and Sauna get the sense that he is for sure going to... He's either real messed up in there to the point where he can't move, or he is a trapdoor spider right now, waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna go up to the window. I'm gonna say, Grim, you're gonna have to trust me. You're gonna have to let me in without playing any games. It's Ellie, by the way.
Well, he knows who we are. Don't be silly. Grim, we're coming in. Don't do anything stupid. I also used prey sense, by the way.
I
so
know,
he
that's
can't...
why I told you.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, all right. Let's go. Open the door.
I look back at Aura. I'm just like, just get ready.
I look down at the... Oh, sorry.
I nod under the hood and I tighten my hand on my sword.
Why? It'll be fine. It's Grim.
Just in case he busts out. I mean, he's been in here. We don't know what they've done to him. He might really want out of here.
Just a quick question. Is Kalugi with us or no?
Kalugi is standing behind you. The entire time you've been walking around in the palace,
Kalugi.
he's been drinking quite
Right.
heavily. A little more than even
All right.
normal.
Ease up on that a little bit, Kalugi. Can you just whisper in and let him hear you? Let him know?
All right, let me tell you something. The last time I was here was one of the worst nights of my evening.
But and he takes another swig and then he leans up into the
Okay, here. There you
bars and says, "Hey, Grim, you bastard! You owe me 50 gold pieces."
Kalugi!
What?
You hear a grumble from inside.
Okay, there we go. All right, see? Grim, you know it's us, all right? We're coming in. Calm down. Crying out loud.
I start to unlock the door.
I immediately stand next to Aura.
I
Kalugi
look
is
at
behind Aura as well.
It's 50 keys we have,
It's a loop with like around 50 keys on it, yeah.
and they're not, obvious, I assume.
They all look pretty different. Well, there's like there'll be like 10 that look different to the next 10, and then 5 that look different to the next 5 a little.
So while she's trying those, I'll go ahead and use also.
He held up the one, right?
Yeah.
You did.
You know which
okay.
one you have,
Yeah.
yeah. Are you copying it?
I was just gonna use my key because I thought we would have to go through a lot of keys to get in, but
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I mean, I could always be like, crap, I'd let it go, but I'm not gonna.
No.
Yeah, you
thanks, Pocket.
you begin to slowly open the door, and you.
As I do, I'm gonna step aside and hold out my foot. If he's gonna bolt, I'm gonna try and trip him.
Yeah. You do you open it slowly or quickly?
I think I would crack it slowly and see what he's gonna do.
Yeah. You crack the door and you look in. For a second you see nothing, and then your eyes adjust to the kind of pit that is in there. It is slightly lowered. You have to actually step down a few steps into this room. You can see a sort of plinth that is a makeshift bed that's just carved out of stone in the corner. There's a rag on there, little more than an old coat or something like that. There's a bucket in the corner, and other than that, it just looks almost just like a kind of cave almost. And you see in there Elden Grim. I think what you're expecting is to be rushed and to be attacked, but really he does nothing. He's completely unarmored, and he probably appears a little smaller to you all as you look upon him. You see him stand up as Ellie begins to open the door. His body is older than you maybe suspected. It's still muscular from years of carrying around that huge armor that he had. But he's only in trousers. He doesn't have anything else on him. There are lash marks and welts across his back and his chest, and his hair is quite long and unkempt, even more so than usual. His beard is longer than what you remembered from when you last met. One of his eyes is swollen closed, and the other glances up, and then he starts moving a few feet before an iron chain at his ankle stops him from reaching the door, and he looks up at all of you and says, "Fuck! Get me out of here, quick!"
Yeah, all right, shush your mouth.
I run in and try to put
down.
my
You're
put my
back.
hand over his mouth.
Calm down. It's all right. Calm down.
You can't be yelling. They can't know that we're connected.
He looks up at all the other people and says, "Who are these goons?"
We don't know if we trust them or not, so just keep your eyes on them, all right? Now, but they're helping us get you out, so just hold still. Oh, look at this.
I give the keys to Bo, and I'm like, "You want to try? See if any of these work on the ankle?"
Oh, okay. Well, I take the keys from Ellie and I attempt to unlock these chains off of Grim.
Yeah, roll me a d50.
Oh no!
You have to roll
why?
a 43.
Oh shit! Okay, don't
Every
come on,
time you
lock picking. Do me good.
Oh, wow, 42. You get the key next to the one you need, and you try it in the lock, and it doesn't fit. It's not even close.
Fuck.
Does that mean the next one it might work?
I guess with meta knowledge that you were this close. Kalugi slips past Bo and says, "You stupid bastard, you got yourself caught. What the fuck did you even do?"
Shut up. I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
why did you
fuck
come in
you.
here in the first place?
Now, let's stop throwing blame
You owe
around
me
for a
50
second.
gold pieces.
you owe me 50 gold pieces. I'm not dead.
We can
Well,
worry
I
about the 50 gold
Basically
pieces
are
when you're
dead.
out.
You're lucky I came and
my
saved
God.
you.
Ippo,
not
give me your
saving me,
give me
they're
your pack,
saving me.
please.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
sure.
I need you to hold still, young man. Sit down right now and hold still.
All right, you want the salves there in
Yes,
this
please.
side pouch? Here you
Uh-huh.
go.
And I'm gonna need a needle and thread as well.
Right, okay.
And
there you go.
I'm going to heal him.
Hmm.
2 points.
Yes.
It restores all of their hit points. And after a short time, the creature will be relieved of any short-term impairments.
Okay. So you heal him up. Let me just write a little summon. And yeah, you kind of sit for a moment and get to work on his wounds for a bit. I think it's not an immediate thing necessarily as you
No,
start to
it's-
kind of look over his body and see the damage. Most of his wounds are kind of superficial. You can see that he's got a lot of bruises that look old, like most of the damage might have been done to him in his armor, and he would have taken a lot of maybe bludgeoning hits and stuff like that from maces or hammers, and they seem to be a lot older. These wounds that he has now, probably from some light torture, maybe just some misconduct from the guards, but they view this is the worst type of criminal in the world. This person rushed in and killed a bunch of their comrades, so
Yes,
he has
yes.
those wounds.
Right.
As you begin to kind of work him over, Bo, you start moving through the different keys on the ring here, just kind of trying one by one. Outside the door, you can hear Worston kind of sweet talking with the Reeve. He's kind of buying you a bunch of time. He's also speaking
Right.
quite loudly so that you can
Yeah,
mask
so
any
we can hear him.
conversation having in the room here. Everyone else is with you, but the door is kind of filled up. You can see Zyra and the twins waiting by the door, blocking any view of anyone that might come by as well. And while you begin to speak to Grim, he's like looking over those of you that he doesn't recognize. What were you going to say?
I think on Bo's third or fourth key, I'm just going to say, mind if I have a whack at that?
Oh, sure. Without hesitation, I immediately pass the keys over.
I set those keys down and I pull a key out of my pocket and insert it into the lock, and it's I'm using an ability called Inquisitor's Key, which you guys might be familiar with from when we used it many moons ago, but it basically fits itself to form any lock.
Yeah, you put this strange device that begins to move and change over itself. Eventually you hear a click and you see the shackle loosen. and you pull the thing off. It leaves there's a kind of a raw mark around his ankle where it was. And he twists his foot. While sooner you like maybe touch something on his back, he winces and then looks across each of you and says,
What the fuck are you doing here?
We heard you went on a rampage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
funny
tell me.
thing. We were gonna ask you what you were doing here.
There's something fucking wrong here. It's
What is
the
it?
Queen.
Right?
and
Is she a demon? And I look at Kalugi.
he looks at Kalugi and then looks back at you. He says,
Magic's gone.
Yeah.
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 Still.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Nope. Yep. Still gone.
What were you gonna say about the queen?
Well, what tricks I knew I got from Lord Bane.
Lord Bane being a god of tyranny, he says,
That much you know, but he's gone. They're all gone, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes.
As far as we know.
unfortunately. Yeah. Now you're gonna want to put this white willow bark on here, okay? It'll help with the swelling.
It fucking stings, no.
Yeah. Well, stop being a baby. It stings, but it's not that bad. You'll be all right.
his one eye that isn't swollen over kind of fixes you for a second. I think as you look into his eye, roll me a dice.
Okay. That's not terrifying or anything. 13.
13. I think you catch something. Everything that he's doing right now is a sort of a bravado. He seems incredibly terrified. Far more terrified than when you literally dove into a demon's mind and fought against Igan together. And he says,
I've never felt anything like that before. Nothing. Yeah.
Felt anything like what?
The dread. His dread. Bane. It knocked me down. The clerics who used to train me called it a divine sense. It was a curse. Yeah, but I caught it. A wave of energy. Unlike anything I've ever known. And I've known some black-hearted men. We've seen some twisted things together. But this...
and then he turns to Kalugi.
Kalugi was right. It's the Queen. I don't know what she did. I don't know what she's become, but it's something new. Something that I cannot allow to live. Whatever she is now will bring too much dread and too much destruction upon this world. Give me my fucking sword and get the fuck out of here.
All right, now
stands
stop
up.
it. We're going together, all right?
It's a bad idea.
No, well, okay, but we're doing it anyway. So you're either going to come with us, and remember how this went down last time? You argued and said we couldn't do it, and then weren't you great that we came with you?
Maybe.
Now look, I know you don't want to go in there by yourself, but you're doing what you feel you have to do. Well, we're all in the same boat together. Do you think we're just going to stand back and let this monstrous queen do whatever? No.
Soon it gets me all worked up and I say, yeah, and I point to Aura. You seen what that one can do with a sword? Should have seen Bob.
She's not bad, but... maybe you should give that sword to me now.
I pull my hood down and I look at him.
Yeah, and I like scoot over, and I'm just like, you probably shouldn't mention that, Cairo. We should probably just not.
Okay. Grim, is it?
Who the fuck are you?
Apple.
This is the army you amassed, an old man and a child.
Well, right. Have you heard anything from maybe the jailers talking to each other about this VIP?
Yes.
It's
Have you heard
Thrymal,
anything?
the Primarch.
I look over at Cairo.
Cairo, I guess, Ippo, in fact, everyone but Suna, you could roll me a dice. I guess. See if you've ever heard of Primarch Thrymal.
3.
2.
Sorry.
Cairo and Ellie, you've heard of this through whatever means. This is quite a powerful individual. He's a kind of the head of the clerics, which isn't really a thing, but if you had an arch cleric, he would be that. He actually rules Daedon, which is where you just came from. That enormous place was a cathedral almost. Pretty much belongs to him in a way. Quite an old fellow. He's an old man. He's akin to the Pope, that kind of a thing. Very powerful, very noble. He is... you would assume if anyone was the second in command of Alexandria, it would be him. There is no prince or princess. The queen has no children. There is no king. There's just the queen. So he seems to be kind of the closest thing to what that would be. A successor or as close to the king as you would get. But he's far more kind of involved in the religious side of Alexandria's rule, that control and that power coming from over there. I don't think you know much more than that. I don't think really you would necessarily have ever seen him. But you, Cairo, and you, Ellie, would know that much at least. Grim says,
He's here. I don't know why. I think someone's
Yes, but who
sick.
is he?
And I'll say, I've never seen him, but I'll then relate what we just learned.
Oh, great.
I look back at Cairo and I'm like, well, if Grim thinks someone's sick, they wanted us to hunt down some healer, some guy that could heal without magic. But we never searched for him because we ended up getting, well, some of us ended up getting kidnapped instead.
You think she's possessed? You think
Or
he's
she's
inside
sick.
her?
Or she's sick.
Did you get to the queen, Grim?
No. I got fucking close. The
How close? Do you know the way?
throne room.
Is that where they're keeping her even though she's sick?
That's where I got.
All right. Okay, well, let's think about getting you out of here. We don't have much time. Do we have a spare cloak?
I have an
I
idea.
don't
We
need a
could
cloak,
take
give me a
the...
sword.
No, listen,
No,
Grim, we
you-
want to get out here without
I
any
can get out of here. I'm
fighting.
fine.
No.
Stop it.
Let's take the halfling suit. We'll make it fit.
We
No,
risked
no,
our
it's not.
hides getting in here to get you out. The least
Hold-
you could do
hear
is shut
me
up
out
and help us
before-
get you out of here.
Hear me out. Take the cloak off her. I point to the armored woman that looks ridiculous because it's probably a big cloak. It was Bob's. Take it off her. We'll say she's a hired bodyguard. Now that we don't have magic, maybe we need one. People are going crazy and obviously won't like magic users. So we'll just say she's a hired bodyguard. She's escorting us around and we'll put that on him.
You think he's not going to notice that there's one more of us?
I mean, we could take
We
care of him.
didn't come in.
We
We
could
didn't
lock
come in with-
him
I
in
could
here.
pluck out his eyes.
No,
All right, can we just think about doing it without hurting anyone
We
for
could
a
lock
minute?
him in the cells. I can knock him out without killing him. We can put him in the cells.
I could try. I could try talking to him, like, can confuse them. Say like this was always the amount of us that arrived.
Yeah, I think that's our best
We
bet
could try lying too, but if it doesn't work, he's going in the cell.
Well,
all right, fine. It's good to have a backup plan. But Grim wasn't speaking, and you couldn't see him when you peeked in, so it could be days before they notice. But if we put him in here, then they'll notice sooner rather than later, right? Let's be smart about this. We're so close. All right, Grim, can you please just, eyes down and shut your mouth until we get you out of here? Please. We
Fine.
risked everything to get you out.
Yeah, don't blow our cover.
I want a sword as soon as we can get one.
Right, we'll do that for you, no problem.
Part of the plan.
All
Sheena,
right.
does he know about Dave?
I don't know, actually. I will tell him when we get out.
Okay. Just wondering. Okay.
I point to the armored lady. I'm like, we need the cloak that you have on.
She looks at you, and then looks at
I look
Serena.
Yeah, I look at Serena.
Yes, you're our hired help. we're just gonna say that you didn't. We're not gonna say anything. We're just gonna
You
walk
do
out
not
like we
need
own
to
the
pay
place.
me. Is fine. She takes
Right.
the cloak off and hands it to you.
Oh,
It's
okay.
much better out of this anyway.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Here. Just hold it out to Grim.
He puts it on. You see,
Right.
Kind of fits him. It's
Right.
he's
Cover
slightly
your
bigger than
face.
Bob
You need-
even.
You need to cover the bruise there on your eye. Pull that down. Yeah. There you go. Much better. All right.
Don't talk. I'm sure they know that your voice by now.
Yeah, they do. I've told them to fuck themselves every day for the last, how long? How long have I been in here?
18 days, I think. But
Fuck me.
well, good news is you never have to tell them to fuck off ever again.
All
All right,
right.
let's go. Let's
Right,
go before they get
let's
too
get going.
suspicious.
And if he gets suspicious, just leave it to me. Keep walking.
Okay.
You guys start
Okay.
walking towards the thing. As you kind of move around, you can hear the Reeves speaking to Worston. And so that's really my duties. It's really not quite as impressive as you might think. Are you quite done? My keys. If I could get my keys back.
well,
and you could
yeah, I
close
was
the door.
gonna
Make
say
sure
on
you
the way
close the
out.
door.
I grab the keys, close the door, and I lock it.
Oh, very good.
Then I walk up to him, and I hold it up, and just stare down at him, like, and just smile.
Oh yes. Well, thank you so very much for the. Right. I hope you had the everything that you needed.
Yeah, lead the way.
Ah, very well. Yes. Okay. Oh, rather terrifying fellow, wouldn't you say? He walks straight past
I've
Grim
seen
as he
worse.
says it.
Definitely seen worse.
Yes, okay, well, follow me. He starts to lead the way out. All of you kind of following quietly behind. Grim shoots a few looks over at Aura and glances at the sword on her back and...
I give him a dirty look, like the kind of do not touch it. I know what you're thinking. If you touch it, I will kill you.
And then, yeah, he puts his head down and follows you all out.
I try to stand in between Grim and Nora. Just like, nope. You keep going, Grim.
Yeah, you guys are led now back out through the same way you came in, again, past all of these different cells and stuff like that. Every now and then you hear Worston speak with Reeve about some trivial thing to do with the meeting and how he's appreciative that he would let them come in today. And he leads you back towards the stairwell and up out of the jail and back up into the kind of courtyard that's outside. The rain is still coming down. You can still see plenty of people coming and going, most of them nobles or military types. Not too many people up by the actual palace itself. And the High Reeve moves away, now heading back towards the gate. Worston looks back to you all as he follows him on.
Go team.
I look to, I think, Cairo, and I say, do you know if there's an armory anywhere nearby?
Would
On
I
the
know
grounds?
my way around here well enough to know if there's an armory?
I don't think you've ever been here before. The only really, I don't think there would have been any reason for you to have come up here, and if there were any missions that involved you coming here, it most certainly would have been left to some of the higher ups, probably Lyra or Worston or Sea Stalker would have done it. I don't think you personally would ever have been here. I think Worston might have an idea, but he's kind of walking along with the Reeve. Every now and then he shoots a look back to you. And Grim stops and doesn't start walking. He starts just looking around. Now that you're in the daylight and everything, you can see that he looks a little out of place. His feet are sticking out of the bottom of this robe. He's this huge figure. And the front of him isn't as covered up as you'd like it to be, but he's kind of standing up now and looking about while some of you move towards where the Reeve is walking along his halfling feet. Also, nothing on the bottoms of his feet, but walking through the mud and the rain. I think...
I would like to use an ability, if I may.
Oh, yeah, go on then. What are you doing?
I would like to use Monitor Bird and send Keepy around to adjacent rooms. It says, your bird can tell you how many creatures are in a space, but not what kind. It also gives you a rudimentary mental map of spaces it travels through. So I'd like it to send him just ahead, like one step ahead of us as we go, and I'll spend as many points as I need to do that. It's 2 each time, so I'll go ahead and spend the first 2.
Yeah, you send PP up to get a decent sort of lay of this fortress area. It's a kind of again, it's more like a military encampment. There's a lot of guards and knights and stuff here. There'll be like, you'll probably see a few knights training in one side of this courtyard with like the dummies up and a few of them clashing swords. You'll see almost every single building and every single doorway has at least 1 or 2 guards on them. The closer you get to the gates, you can see more guards standing around. There's even a sort of small squad or a battalion that are kind of marching around. They're doing like drills. It's pretty busy, and most of the people here are well armed and well armored. I don't know if you necessarily know what's inside each of the buildings, but you get the sense that the barracks area is on the opposite side of the courtyard that you're on. If the few buildings around where you are to do with the dungeons, or maybe they're buildings for something else, you can see that there seems to be a more open flow of guards and military types coming from the buildings that are on the opposite side for you. If there was an armory or maybe a barracks or anything to do with where they're keeping military things, it would be in that side, with the north side being the actual palace itself, a little further away from where you are. The south side has a lot more kind of buildings and towers that you would suspect contain other things. There doesn't seem to be too many people coming and going from those, but it's probably like a library and where maybe the mages were kept and things like that. And then the gate itself.
Surely the Inquisition has better access to better weaponry than average, military barracks, right?
Yes.
Yes. But,
Kinda.
I think it's probably better. I mean, even if it's not magical, it's probably a better build of a sword and armor than we can find at a barracks. So perhaps we should just do that.
Well, then we'd have to get back in.
We can blend in a little better if we take the armor from here.
Weston did say it was going to be really hard to get back in.
All right.
So what's the plan? Or we're going to go back to the castle and try to get to the queen? Is that what I'm...
Yes, that's the plan. But we first need to worry about armor and maybe some shoes.
I'm going to kill that one there and take it.
All right. No,
Yeah.
please.
No.
You're absolutely not going to do that, Grim. You're just not going to do it. All right?
Look at that one. He can barely hold the sword.
Listen, I'm through with your tantrums now. This is serious. Everything that we do right now really matters, and I need you to understand that. We can't just go in, willy-nilly, killing people. We need to be very precise. We have
I
one
made it all the
shot
way
at
there
this.
by myself. With her and her,
Oh,
we'll be
did
fine.
you? Did you make it all the way there?
Almost.
Because I think you made it part of the way there, and then you wound up in jail.
Now's not the time to argue.
No, now
We're
is the
gonna
time to
drive.
set the record straight.
Well,
You're,
we can
you're
do
done
that.
with your tantrum.
Not in the middle of a. Let's get into a room if you're gonna. Grimp, you're not. You owe us. You can't just go killing people right now. You owe us. You gotta at least try to listen.
We've got one shot at this. We can't screw it up, all right? It's too important.
But where the
It's
fuck
bigger
is
than
he
all of us.
going?
The fuck is who going?
Like, Worston's quite far away now. He's like
shit.
looking at you like...
Yeah, oh, come
the
on.
Reeve turns around and looks up, and you see them having a conversation, and Worston kind of waves back at you. The Reeve kind of shouts, you coming along, or is there
Yeah,
something
just admiring the architecture. I've never seen this up close before, and yeah, we're coming. So sorry.
Yes,
Grim?
well, very good.
I'm gonna try and sneak away.
Ooh, broad daylight, surrounded by people. Roll me a dice.
Okay. Oh.
Wow.
Everyone, like, in that short moment there, everyone turns back. Ellie's gone. She's just gone.
Sneaking away to where I think the armor or the barracks would be.
All right. We'll catch up with you in a minute. What everyone else is kind of moving somewhat towards the Reeve and Worston.
Yes.
I'm going to yell at Grim. Not yell. I'm going to angrily hush tones. You know your way around the castle. You need to help us with that. So you need to focus. We'll get you a sword, but you're just gonna have to maybe draw us a map in case. I mean, let's be real. In case you die, and then you can lead us through the castle.
Fucking map. You go through that fucking door, and then through the other big set of doors.
Okay, well, I didn't know it was that simple.
Yeah, you cut down every fucker in the way.
Oh, for crying out loud.
How many fuckers are there?
She can do
You
it.
know?
She's almost as good as I am with that thing.
Oh, you should see her now, sweetie. She killed a god.
You
I'll
fucking did it.
describe.
I said she killed a god, not your god. Settle down.
What the fuck happened?
I'll describe to Aura roughly what Kipi saw in terms of guards, but then I'll say, maybe I could talk to the halfling, and we'll go on a tour.
Ooh, like the new the
You know,
scrubs.
we don't need any keys or anything anymore. We just want to.
Why don't we just no, let's say we need to go to the scene of the crime.
Oh,
Ooh,
right?
that's good.
Right?
would that
Yeah.
Not bad.
right? That's
Yeah, it works.
We could see where he got caught and have him relay what he knows of what happened and when. Yes.
makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go up to the Reeve and use Silver Tongue. If you're caught doing something prohibited or mischievous, you can use Clever Thinking to evade suspicion. So I'm going to explain to him that we're not done with our investigation here. We need to verify some things to see if that creep downstairs was telling us the truth about even layouts, rudimentary things, and yeah.
He looks up at you, he looks at Worston and looks back and says, "Oh, well, I don't think I can. I'd have to go and
training. You know, we.
Well, yes, I understand, but
Only way to
really,
train
it's quite
these-
difficult. It's really not my place. I really don't go much.
Right. Look, we don't need any
keys.
keys or anything like that, and.
Well, I'd have to go and arrange that with, of course, the scene of the crime. Partially was
I don't
here.
think that would be
over
necessary.
there, I believe.
I'm gonna bust out my
and then all the way
I'm gonna
through
bust
the
out my
main
Inquisitor
halls.
badge
and
just kind of idly be.
yes,
be
well,
holding that.
I suppose. Well, how about? Well, I suppose if I would you be
And I'll
okay
actually
waiting
use the
right
ability.
Here?
What's that?
Would you wait right here?
No, I don't think you need to ask. That's the thing. I think we need to take a look around here, and I'm gonna be holding my badge and using Silver Tongue.
Well, yes, I suppose
It'll be quick.
I could take you inside, but well, I wouldn't be able to take you to the throne room without.
No, sure.
Sure that I.
You know.
Of course, that was where he was.
Right. We do need to have a
we
look.
could go. I suppose there's really no harm in taking you into the main hallway.
Perfect.
Yes, very well. Yes, follow me, then.
Thank you. You're quite helpful.
And he begins to walk up towards the palace itself, heading towards the main doorways. However, Ellie is creeping around the barracks.
It's fine.
You kind of disappear and do your thing for a moment before reappearing. We probably catch up with you in the rafters of the barracks area. You've made your way into this building where there are plenty of people coming and going, and you can see that there are guards, there are knights, there are people that are dressed in sneaking clothing that were probably their own kind of roguish assassins at the behest of the fortress and the queen, sitting around. This seems to be an area where they meet, they hang out. There's some eating food, some drinking. A little further in, you can see two other doors. One of them locked, one of them open. The one that's open, you can see a sleeping quarters, presumably where they actually sleep, the quarters and barracks themselves. The other door, if there was an armory, it's probably this one, but it's locked.
Do I see enough in here to maybe properly disguise myself? Like,
Yes.
you said they're a roguish type people, so I would just try to maybe disguise myself to look more like them and less like Assassin's Guild.
Yeah, roll me a dice.
Okay.
11. You find a disguise, but it is not the roguish disguise that you are looking for. It's kind of heavy armor
Oh.
that would fit you, but it's the armor of these palatial guards, the higher end military types that are trained up here at the palace. They're certainly better trained than the basic watchmen, but
Will it fit over my arm, my leathers?
yes.
I'll start putting it on then.
You're not going to be very effective at much in it, but you will fit in.
Well, at this point, the point is just to disguise myself, so that way I stop getting like questioned.
Yeah. At one point, you wait for the room to clear, and then you drop down. You start to quickly pull on these greaves, this heavy armor that you're wearing, and by the end of it, you're dressed like a classic-looking knight, the type of thing that you might see in a tourney with these large pauldrons. It's all heavy and very uncomfortable to wear. I don't think you've really done any heavy armor wearing ever. Never needed to, but it's
I've
heavy.
carried heavy things, but I've never worn armor that's
It's
heavy.
difficult and lumbersome, especially with your natural armor or your leathers underneath. Once you sit there, it probably takes a little while. There's a couple of people that walk past and they glance in and see you getting changed, but don't care. It just seems pretty normal to them. Once you're
I
dressed,
kind of like yell at them to like turn their eyes and that they're like pervs.
right?
and
Yeah,
disgusting.
they like look away and they laugh, and you hear them giggling as they walk down the hall. By the time you're ready, you stand up, you wobble a little bit, and then begin to kind of clank out of the hallway. Again, you're not your usual dexterous, lithe self in these items.
I want to grab. Is there a sword?
I don't think there's one here. I think there are swords on each of the other knights. This was just a discarded piece of armor that at some point someone's going to come back for.
I'm going to go into the sleeping quarters. Is there anyone sleeping in here?
A bunch, I would imagine. Yeah.
And does anyone like have their belongings near them?
You can see that each of the bunks has a little kind of lockbox at the end of it. You don't see anything. There are no like swords or bows or arrows or anything leaning up against their beds.
I'm gonna try and search one of the lockboxes.
Yeah, roll me a dice.
Okay.
A 1. You walk up to this lockbox in your massive armor and these huge armored gloves and just go budging and hit the lockbox, and it hits the back of the bed. There's a fellow that's asleep that wakes up and says, "Hey, what the fuck? What are you doing?"
Sorry, I thought this was mine. I think I drank too much.
Yeah, fuck off. Maybe
Sorry, man.
take your shit off. Put it in the armory like everyone else.
Sorry. God, I told you I drank too much.
Yeah, all right.
And I sort of like stumble out.
Rolls over, grumbling.
Shit. I walk back out to the guys that are like training, and I mean, is there someone that's like taking a break from training? Like he's put his sword or something to the side, taking a break.
Yeah, roll me a dice.
Okay.
As you step outside, you see everyone else walking up to the main doors of the palace. Like, you look for them and they're not there, and then you realize they're at the far north end of the courtyard. They're heading towards the huge double doors, up a ramp and up a few steps into the actual kind of Gothic-looking palace itself. Right next to you, you see a guard of a sort of maybe a smaller stature. Maybe a dwarf in there walks up, and you hear behind the mask, "Oh, fucking hell. I'm done and I'm tired." He rests a huge double-bladed axe against the wall and takes off his helmet and looks up at you. "You got a smoke?"
Oh, no. I left him in the sleeping quarters.
"Oh, for fuck's sake."
You can have him if you can find him. Just gotta be quiet, and some of the people in there are cranky.
I am fucking knackered. I am. All right, I'll go look for him. God. He wanders off inside, leaving the giant double-bladed axe behind.
I put the face mask down, and I grab the axe and start walking.
Yeah, it's super heavy, and also you're kind of like...
I think you see me like lean for a second, then I'm like, okay.
You're in this kind of slightly oversized armor, moving towards the group. You're catching up with the group in this armor.
Yeah, I think like Yeah, I'm catching up with them. I'm gonna be walking behind them.
Yeah, the rest of you are moving towards this this palace, this huge Gothic-looking thing in front of you, and I think the rest of us see this clanking armored recruit. It probably looks like wandering over with a huge axe on one shoulder. Eventually, she puts it down and drags it behind her as you start to move up. You can hear the halfling kind of mumbling to himself as he moves towards the doorway. I don't think this is really a place. I'd have to go and speak to someone. I suppose I can I'll pretend I'm showing you at first that. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter. You're Inquisition. They won't mind. They might mind.
Of course they won't mind.
As you step up, you move up towards a huge doorway. It's flanked by 5 guards on each side, all of them standing to attention. 2 of them in the same armor as what Ellie is wandering up behind you in. She's not quite there yet, but a much more heavy armored knight. The others dressed more like the guard that's been following around the halfling that you saw, the drow elf. And the doors are open enough to let one person through, but you could easily fit a dragon through these doors. The closer you get to them, you see they're huge things that are probably pulled by ropes on the inside. When they close, they would act like a battlement. They're almost like the gate that you walk through. And as you approach, you can see now inside there's a regal hallway with a huge carpet that leads down towards another door at the very far end. And you step up. The halfling nods at the guards, who nod back at him. They glance over towards you, but kind of stoically, guard style, don't really do anything. As he moves into this hallway, there is another fellow dressed in kind of noble wear, an elf that steps in front of the High Reeve. And Isil looks up at him and says, "You startled me." "Yes, I suppose I did. Inquisitors. You're expected." This elf looks across all of you. He is dressed in the very similar fineries to High Reeve Isil. He says, "I am High Reeve," and then he glances down to Isil and looks back up at you. "Weevil."
I'm gonna let Worston handle this one.
Worston glances forward and says, "Yeah, we were hoping to look into the crime scene of Eldon Grimm. Perhaps we could see the hallways in the throne room in which he was combative."
I'm sorry. I'm using insight. That was weird. Why do you need to look at somebody else? And then it sounds like he made up his name just now and expecting us, and that's weird. So you see the intentions of a nearby creature discovering a prominent motive. I may choose one effect each time you use this ability. This is so tough. You learn something the creature intends to do in the next 10 minutes. Particularly towards us.
He is for sure hiding something. He really did seem like he walked up and spun you a bullshit name.
Right.
And you get the sense, not necessarily that you know what his intentions are, but that for him, there is no pretense, really, and that he intends to take you further into the palace. He says,
"All right.
Come with me."
No. I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use more points. I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
What's his long-term motive then? What's his long-term
His
goal?
long-term motive, he turns to you and says, "The Primarch would like to speak with you all. Immediately." He intends to take you to the Primarch.
Oh, man.
Can I stalk my own party?
You're really obvious compared to everyone else right now. There's a knight walking up the platform behind you, dragging a giant axe.
Oh, no. Okay.
I
think I keep like correcting like the crotch part of the armor, like, oh, come on. And then I'm gonna interrupt you guys and walk like, excuse me, and I'll bump into Grim and I'll like push the axe at him.
You immediately see him grip it. It was almost as if he force pulled it to himself. He was that eager to take the axe from you. As he takes the thing, he grips it and leans on it a little as you kind of stumble up to one side.
Oh, thank God, someone. All right. And I walk up and I'm like, I was sent to escort you all. You can't go in without an escort. And we're gonna follow this guy.
Oh, hold on. Now hold on.
I look back at Suna and I lift the thing a little bit and I'm like, is there a problem?
Yes.
And then I close it.
You just need to wait a moment. I just need to speak with my colleagues here before we go straight in.
I'm
This
afraid
is This is an investigation after all.
there is no making the Primarch wait. Please follow me. He turns around and
I
opens
look
his
at
hand to let you in.
Suna. Like,
Weston kind of glances at everyone.
Does he... Oh, this is such a dumb question, but I have a horrible feeling that we've met this man before. Does he feel familiar to me at all?
No.
All right.
I motion for Worston to go in first, so that way he can at least like start the line.
I
Weston
can't
looks
shake the feeling that I've met him before.
back at you all and looks over and says, "Very well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Off to meet
I whisper
the fucking Primarch then."
to Suna, I didn't feel very good when we were in the jail, and I'm gonna use Nemesis again to see if I get a vibe from this guy.
All right, roll me a dice.
Oh.
What do you do? Bisbee?
Oh, I'd like to use relieve and maybe to assist Aura in that. So relieve, you say something comforting to a nearby creature, elevating them of anxiety, pain, and discomfort for 1 hour. In this state, the creature cannot be affected by fear or confusion.
And what do you say?
I believe in you, Aura.
I reach down and I squeeze Bo's hand. And I hold his hand longer than just to... And then I feel like this calm overcome me. And I take a deep breath.
Do you think he's here?
I think he's close.
Then the anxiety probably is quelled a little as Bo gives you that sense of comfort. But yeah, you definitely feel like he's close.
I whisper that to whoever, of our group who's in earshot, but low enough that other people can't hear. I think we're getting close.
All right. Okay. That's all right. Well, we'll follow him in there. He's expecting us, and here's what we'll do. And then I'd like to use plan while we're walking.
Yeah, you guys start walking down this hallway. It's a huge thing. There are these paintings of all the queens past that you see. There are several of generals and things like that, and depictions of battles. There are many different doors that lead off to many different hallways in this place. You can see some winding stairs that probably lead up to some of the battlements and the towers that are on the sides of this fortress. At the very far end, you can see another set of double doors that presumably lead to the throne room, and you seem to be on a track down there, but it's going to take you a few minutes to get to that door. The High Reeve Esel that was with you has left. He turned around and did not come in and turned back. You're now with this other High Reeve who claimed to be Weevil, and he is walking ahead of you. This tall elf, dark hair, hands clasped behind his back, walking proud ahead of you, leading the way. Worston keeps firing, looks back at you, but walks ahead quietly as well. Kalugi drunkenly stumbling behind you, and now Grim with an axe on one shoulder, kind of now being relatively blasé about the fact that he's Elden Grim. And then there's Ellie stumbling along in a full
I'd
set
say
of armor.
I want to be ahead of them because I was trying to let them talk while I.
All right, you're like moving along, clanking along next to everybody, a little bit further ahead as well.
Yeah.
And what are you planning?
It's an ability if you have time to prepare before conflict. And you can choose when it begins. You may ambush your enemy and take the first round. But that means we all have to say what we're going to do during our first turn. And then it happens simultaneously when the ambush happens.
I don't think you can plan an ambush.
Why not?
Well, because they know you're here and they're bringing
Well,
you.
they know we're here, but they don't know who we are, maybe, potentially. They don't know when we're going to attack. Oh, no. They
All right.
know. They know.
Oh, no.
Plan your ambush if
All
you'd
right.
like
Oh,
between each
no.
other.
That's all right. That's all right.
What do you do?
Well, okay, so here's the plan. I think, we'll go in there. We'll talk to whoever this is, and Aura, you let us know when you sense Dave.
All right.
And then we all attack at once.
Something's wrong with the queen.
Well, yeah, maybe she's possessed or something. Let's try to figure it out. No going in guns blazing or whatever. That's what we
Right.
say over in Dustvale. But no going in with with your swords or anything. All right, we're just gonna pay attention. We're gonna listen. We're gonna focus. And can you do that, Grim? Can you not just run in there and try to cut her head off?
Grim is walking along behind you, axe on shoulder. He says,
No promises.
Okay, but Grim, please. This is
Words
important.
first.
Okay, thank you.
Before we go,
Okay.
I'd like to use one more ability just to add to Suuna's ability. This one's called Valiant Soliloquy. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Soliloquy.
Soliloquy. Okay, thank you. So you inspire your allies with a rousing speech. You can, when completed, each member of the party gains an option to redo their next roll.
Oh!
Yes. So this option
Lovely.
expires at the end of your scene if it has not been used. So
Alright.
I will just make a quick speech. I hold everybody back in their tracks. I just want to let you know, I speak from the heart when I say this. You are all my family, Ippo and Cairo included. We've been through so much together, and I know we can overcome anything. Have faith in each other. We got this.
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
Big bit of
Okay, Brad, I gotta add to this. I'm sorry. Do I know this Weevil guy? And do I know anything about him? Because I knew about the guy that we're going to see.
a Primarch.
Yeah, the Primarch.
roll me a dice.
Okay.
No. You've no idea who this is.
You have the option to me.
My second thing is, can I use Curious Case on him? Because as an assassin, there's been several times where I've had to like walk into traps that I knew were traps.
I would say if you hadn't rolled a 1, you could. But because you
Oh.
don't have anything to go off of with him, I'd say you really can't.
What is with
springboard
my
off of
rolls?
it. You guys
my-
are being led by this fellow to the doors ahead of you, and before you even get there, you see 2 guards push the doors open. They're a lot smaller than the ones that you came through, but they're still pretty damn big doors. Beyond is a throne room, and that is where we're going to go to a break.
Oh, fuck you. Sorry. Such anxiety.
Damn it.
Short break, and when we
Oh,
return,
God.
we will enter the throne room together. Quick shout out to Jack Black, who drew an amazing piece of fan art, which I'm going to put up on the screen again here. You might have seen it right at the very beginning of the group having the last reunion last week. at the tavern eating a meal and drinking together, and it's awesome. Jack Lack, thank you so much. Drew a bunch of fan art for us along with a few other people. And this one was beautiful. We're going to have a short break, and when we return, we will have a meeting in the throne room and the conclusion of the campaign. Thanks for watching. See you in a few minutes. Bellona Fortress in Alexandria. You are led through a set of doors by this very tall elf who introduced himself as High Reeve Weevil. He stands directly inside the doors and doesn't step forward with you, but he kind of does a short bow and a curt bow to allow you all to pass through. And each of you walk in to the fortress throne room. It is quite an impressive thing. Compared to the outside, it's a little more embellished and a little more regal looking. The sides of the room have several marbled layers for nobles and regents to sit and stand upon, casting their judgments on whomever should come here for whatever reason. There's a central kind of platform that's a little raised and carpeted that runs down the center of this relatively large throne room. The throne itself sits raised even further, a small stairway leading up to it, and it's a grandiose thing. 3 times larger than the man sitting in it. There is a huge golden overhang above him in the general shape of a bear. Beside his throne are 2 guards, both of them drow fighters, like the one that now stands at the entrance. And at several points in the room around you there are knights and shadowed palace guards that stand watching you walk in. There's a fair few of them. It's a miniature army of the most well-trained militia in Alexandria. And upon the throne sits an elderly man. He's maybe in his 70s, grey hair, clear, pale, veiny skin. He has pristine, fine, clerical robes of silver and white, and his hands are covered in rings and scars. He has a very fine-looking, polished cane that he holds with an enormous diamond embedded in the top, and he leans forward as you all approach, and he says,
I am Primarch Thrymal, the Primarch, head cleric, and temporary ruler of Alexandria. Introduce yourselves, and be honest. I have no time for your deceptions today.
Worston shoots a look at all of you, and as each of you stand before this throne room, Worston turns and says,
Worston Redbloom, commander of the Arcanine Inquisition Bellona team. And this is Inquisitor Cairo Ogul, our field expert.
He looks towards a couple of the others of you that are standing there.
I've started taking off armor.
Yeah, you're just standing there dropping.
I think you, like, as he says, be honest, you see Ellie just take off her helmet and kind of like throw it in front of her.
Yeah.
And just starts removing all the heavy plate.
Do you introduce yourself?
I'm Ellie, co-leader of the Assassin's Guild.
Mm-hmm.
I reveal myself. I am Bobo. I have no title.
Extraordinary bard.
You're too kind. I'm but a humble bard.
I look at Ippo for a moment and
I'm Ebo Tobith. I'm winner of the CT shooting contest and several of the cooking contests also.
Suna Sewe, child of Deaveki.
When Suna says that, I glance at her really quick. My name is Aura.
Does he react to that name at all?
Doesn't at all, no.
I'm Aura Oakfall. I'm a farmer.
Kalugi steps forward and says, Kalugi Salatio, demon hunter, ladies' man, sometimes man's man. He does a ridiculous bow, 1 foot
It was one
pointed
time.
upwards. Turns around. Grim says, fuck you, you know who I am. Zyra looks back and forth and then says, Zyra Victis, your honor, I am Knight of Tiorvelm, guardian of the divine successor. And Tia and Viraz just shift uncomfortably, grasping their staffs, looking back and forth.
And, they don't speak common. They're with me.
The Primarch is like slightly less interested in most of you and focuses his attention on Worston for a second and then Cairo and says, do we really have need for an Arcanine Inquisition? There is no Arcanine. Simply scrap. I have heard a little of you, even less of them, but this and that. Who is this divine successor? Then he looks at you, Suna. Since Zyra motioned to you when she referenced the divine successor.
Oh, yes, my name is Suna.
What makes you so divine?
Well, I used to have magic. As
She
did the rest of
carries
us.
within her the god Savras's will.
Oh, well, I was trying to keep that a little discreet.
Is Savras considered a god in Dragon's Reach? I suppose to savages the tricks of a soothsayer might be considered divine.
Yes, I'm just a soothsayer, nothing more.
You've gone to a lot of trouble. To come here and free this wretched man, why?
No one says anything at all.
Why do you stand before me?
Well, you wanted to see us, so why don't you tell us?
You were on your way to me.
I don't think we were.
You step into my home,
Your home.
onto
You mean
these
your
lands.
temporary home?
This has been my home.
How comfy is
entire
that
life.
throne for you?
So,
Can I use Nemesis?
yes. Roll me a dice.
Okay. A 9.
What are you sensing?
Oh,
But this is not Deaveki.
Nope.
I'm gonna look about the room. Is there any movement at all?
Nope. They're standing very still. Everybody else in here. The doors behind you are still slightly open, but the figure that brought you in here, Hyrie Weevil, has left. He says, so you must know what is behind that door. He points to a door off to his left. There are 3 doors in this room, 2 to the right, 1 to the left of him. And he says, tell me, what do you intend to do once you get in there?
For it is beyond that door you wish to go. Is it
Yes.
not?
Yes, it is.
Why?
It depends on what she's sick with.
You have come to heal the Queen.
Hopefully, yes.
You have come to do what so many others have failed.
That's correct.
Because you are.
A simple soothsayer, as you said.
So you know that you are victorious in this?
No, of course not. But we'll try anyway.
Why would you not want us to try?
Nothing's impossible.
I do not know who you are, why you are here, but you sneak onto these lands in disguises and wish to see the Queen.
Would you have let us come in if we had told you who we really were?
Perhaps, most likely not. The fact that you
And
have
there's your
freed
answer.
this murderer does not help your cause either.
Do you have any other options?
You bring an assassin, a murderer, a farmer, elderly men, soothsayer, and the Inquisition. I see no healers.
Do my part.
Yeah, I do my part too.
Salves and stitches
Yeah.
will not help our Queen.
Well, I'd say you're out of options.
And I've got some bum frazzle as well. Sometimes that just burns things straight out of you.
We've come all this way, and as you know, from all over, separately. To try and help, you might as well let us.
Help. I need not your help.
What do you need?
Nothing.
We're going in that door one way or the other. You're gonna let us in, or we're gonna go through you.
You would threaten me.
You speak in riddles, and I don't really have time for that.
These are not riddles. I have answered you. Have I not?
Now maybe you just talk more than you should.
If I walked into your home and demanded to speak with your loved ones, would you simply let me? If they were sick?
Yes.
Yes.
Aren't you some sort of head cleric? Of course I would.
You
If I
seem
snuck into your
qualified.
home with a known murderer,
Well, we
under
didn't
cloak,
sneak in. We walked in through the front door.
in disguises.
Yes, because otherwise you wouldn't have let us in. You said so yourself.
I told
We're
you I
going in
had
circles.
no time for deceptions, and you are not here to help me. Are you?
Are you trying to help the queen?
We are trying to help the queen, yes.
You are here for your own answers. That's what I
You're-
think.
We are not here for our own gain. We are here to help our people.
How will you help?
By saving the queen.
And how?
That
Will you save
remains
the
to be
queen?
seen, but you have failed.
No. I have not failed. The Queen is already
This is not-
saved.
You're
Oh no, what have you done?
The Queen is saved. You are saved. I am saved. We are all saved.
I don't like the sound of that.
The divine power held
Magic, do you
inside
mean?
there is not something I am willing to let fall into enemy hands.
I
She
draw
is
my
possessed.
sword.
Brad, I wanted to ask, how open is this room, and or are there like places to sneak?
You guys are in the middle of the most open part of the room. It's a pretty open central part. Around the room, there are lots of places that you could hide behind, pillars and levels that you could move up, and chairs and things like that that you could get behind. The throne itself is maybe 20 feet up and away from you, elevated by maybe no more than 10 feet as he speaks down to you from it. Not many hiding places right here. You're just a group in the middle here. You pull your sword out.
Yeah.
Can I use the ability size up
Yeah.
on
What does it
the
give
guy? Why do I keep forgetting his name? On
Primarch.
His name
Primarch?
is Primarch Thrymal. I'll write it for you in our chat.
Yeah, Primarch. Can I use my ability size up on him?
Yes. What does it do?
You evaluate the capabilities of a nearby creature or group of creatures. The GM will give you useful insight to their capabilities, strengths, vulnerabilities, and/or resistances. At minimum, you'll receive an accurate assessment from the GM about whether they would pose it, how they would fare in a fight. So,
You look him up and down. This is an old man. This is an old cleric that at one point was probably the most powerful cleric in the land. I'd imagine 20 days ago, this guy would have been a handful even for you at your full power when you returned. But now he just seems like an old man. A well-placed arrow would certainly kill him. He's not even armored. Around him are a lot of guards, and these guys are very well trained. These are the guys that stopped Grim, basically. Grim got through all of those guys that were out in the front and the guys that were at the gate. And maybe a couple of the more well-trained ones, but these are the elite forces here. These are the palace guard. They're pretty scary looking. Some of them very heavily armored, some of them not so. Many of them with bows, many of them with swords, some of them with axes and hammers and clubs.
how many are there in total?
20.
He said we've been saved, and I want to ask him, what are we saved from?
He sits back, confident, and says, "You know nothing. All of you, draw your swords and kill me if you must. They will stop you.
That's not
Nothing.
what we want. We want answers.
Your answers."
Enlighten us.
Yeah, let's all just calm down.
What did you save us from? What did you save the queen from?
I did nothing. He
And how are we saved?
has saved us.
No.
What?
You may be wrong about that, but from what I understand.
Will bring about a new age, one of complete global unity. We shall all ascend under his rule.
Right.
Who do you worship?
I worship him. For there
Who is him? And I hike my sword up higher in a threatening way, not like I'm gonna run at him or anything.
He is him.
So great that you're afraid to name him.
I don't think he knows it.
No. So for all you know, it's a big deceiver, and you're just getting caught up in it because you're scared about your other gods all being away.
This is no deception. The last of my power showed me the truth. I have seen
Showed
it.
you what?
What was the truth?
Our new world.
Without
See,
magic.
that sounds an awful lot like everyone, all of these guys who are here to protect you. You're just like, oh, they're gonna die. There'll be a new world, and that's it. I don't like the sound of that. I like this world.
It's
got
too
nice
late.
people in it.
Too
We
late.
are
How?
already in this new world of ours.
Can I
There
walk
is
up
no
and
magic.
nudge Aura?
And what?
While they're going back and forth, I'm gonna walk up and nudge Aura and be like, "Just let me know when you're ready."
So you
And I'll
wanted
grab
this.
my
You
bow.
you wanted no magic.
Weeks ago, I would have wanted nothing of the sort. But I have seen now the way.
What do you mean, the way?
You say you don't speak in riddles. You're speaking in riddles. I have someone I want to get back to, so if you don't mind, just say what you mean.
Go then. Farm child. You have no place here. None of you do.
Right. We're going to see the queen.
I'm so sorry. I'd like to use Evil Eye.
What does that do?
You pause, close your eyes, and quiet your mind, and you can tell the worst thing that's ever happened nearby. The GM will describe to you the type of thing that happened and what the people involved look like. For example, you might learn someone was murdered, a curse was created, or an evil vow was taken.
Roll me a dice.
I want to know if the queen was possessed, or I just want to see if I can figure out what happened. 12.
12. What do you think happened first?
No, I'm not playing this game with you, Bradley.
All right.
I'm my own worst enemy. I'll make something terrible happen. I hate that you're asking what do we think has happened.
That's Pumpkinberry.
Okay.
What would Suna say? Would
That's
Suna
true.
do that?
That's very true. Well, I think she was possessed. I think Deaveki is in her. Sorry. It's what I think.
Then that is what you think.
All right. Is that what I see, though?
Yes.
That's what I see. All right. Okay.
When Suna goes quiet, I'll look over at her, not sure what she's doing, and I'll look back at the Primarch and say, we're going in.
No, it is time for you to leave.
That's not happening.
Turn
I
around.
look I look over at Ellie over my shoulder and see what she's doing.
Oh, I got my bow and arrow out. I let you know already that I'm ready when you are.
I nod at her and I charge at the Primarch.
All
As she
right.
starts to... Okay.
Aura starts running forward, sword out.
I'm gonna use Deadeye at a cost of 3, and the closest guard to the Primarch, I'm going to disable a limb.
Okay. Everyone explain to me what you're doing in this moment as you see Aura take her first step.
I'm gonna run for the door behind the Primarch. I'm gonna run for the Queen's door.
I will follow Cairo.
Okay.
I'm sticking close to Suna.
Well, I had my fucking eyes closed, so I don't know if I see her moving forward, to be honest.
I nudge Grim to go towards the door as well.
Grim lifts his huge axe up. Kalugi kind of stumbles left and right and then pulls out a blade in front of him the way he does in a kind of drunken fencing style.
If I see Suna's eyes closed, I'm gonna just grab her by the shoulder and pull her with me with
Right. Okay.
with bow.
The
Cairo.
Primarch lifts his
What's happening?
cane and hits the ground with it. Suddenly, all of the guards along the sides of this room, a couple of them up by either side of the throne itself, on a kind of separate area to the sides of him, and a few on the other either side of you, pull out weapons. Aura, you run forward, just running straight at the Primarch. There's a hail of arrows that suddenly come in at the crew here, and what are you doing, Aura?
I'd like to use Wild Attack, and I'm heading straight for the Primarch.
Okay, roll me a dice.
Okay. An 16.
A 16 is a hit. However, as you're running forward, you run up these stairs, bringing the sword up with you. As you lift it to swing at him, you run straight into what you think at first is an invisible wall. You boom straight into some glass. There is almost invisible glass around the underside of the overhang where the bear's kind of form is. And you hit this thing, and he laughs behind it. An arrow flies in, and I'm going to roll for an arrow. An 8 is a miss, and then a second one. An 11 is a hit. An arrow hits you. Take 2 damage.
I look at him and I grab where the arrow hits me. You're a fucking coward!
Perhaps. Kill them all.
More arrows fly in. So, who was attacking who? Ellie, roll me a dice.
I don't think when I upgraded I have to.
Oh, you did.
I did
what was it?
Deadeye, which is
I did
an
Deadeye
automatic hit.
upgraded.
Automatic hit, yeah.
Automatic triumph.
Launches forward towards one of these guards. He pulls out a sword, and then you see this arrow pierce his neck. He stumbles backwards. A spurt of arterial blood hits the glass next to him and begins to run down it. As he grabs at it, he drops his sword, falls off the plinth in front of him, stumbling, and hits the ground pretty hard. Who else? Was anyone else attacking? Everyone else was running, I think.
Yeah. After that, I'll start running, trailing the group. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So, an arrow for Ellie is an 8. That's a miss. An arrow for Hippo, 4, a miss. An arrow for Bo, 8, a miss. You guys are probably ducking under this stuff. Suddenly everyone is in motion. There are arrows flying in, pinging off of the marble floor, the carpeted floor. An arrow for Cairo. Damn, that's gonna sting.
Oh no.
Cairo, you turn to run towards the queen's quarters when an arrow flies very true and strikes you in the rib cage. This is bad. It hits you hard. I think it hits you for double damage, so you take 4 damage off of your HP. Everyone has 10 HP. Reminder for people watching. We are in quest, and you only get 10. That is.
I think I'm knocked on my ass.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then we have 1 for Suna, a 7, a miss. 1 for Grim, a 13 is a hit. He takes 2 damage. There. 1 for Kalugi, a miss. And then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then 1 more. Who am I missing? Who's not taken an arrow yet?
There's the twins and Zyra.
Twin Zyra, that was who I was aiming at. 19. Zyra is struck. You see Zyra moving forward. No?
No. I will. Oh, Jesus Christ. If a nearby NPC is about to attack someone, you may shout and disrupt the attack. The NPC will make their attack with -5 to the roll, so it'll still hit, but it won't be as bad, I hope. But when you intercept this attack, they will immediately be affected by this provocability. So they're going to focus on me.
Aim for you in this attack
Yes.
or next?
I believe I'm intercepting, so they're going to hit me instead.
You dive in front of it. How does this look?
I honestly don't think I'm fast enough to dive in front of it. I think I just... Oh, how would I do this? I think I forget I don't have magic, actually. I think I just hold my hand out and I expect my magical scepter to come up and do shield like I've done so many times. It was reflex and the arrow goes right through my hand.
Okay. Take 2 damage. Zyra screams out and then she, I think, reactively grabs you and throws you behind her really violently and pulls her shield up. You're now kind of under this shield from her. The few of you that start moving. So what was Ippo? You were just kind of moving with Suna and Zyra, I guess.
Yeah, I want
you
to
wanna
get
do?
her over there, and then once I get them over there, I want to turn and take a knee and take a shot at one of the archers.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. Give me a roll. And then what was Bo doing?
I went with Cairo, so I witnessed that she took quite a nasty blow. I would like to use the ability Heal.
Yes.
So use your knowledge of nature or medicine, restoring all of their hit points. After a short time, the creature is relieved of any short-term impairments. However, this does not remove permanent conditions.
Okay. Yeah, I think you head over and snap the arrow. And then you apply a certain pressure to the area, and then you just hold it for a moment. The wound is bad, but you don't think that this has hit any sort of lungs or internal organs or anything. So it looks and feels horrible, Cairo, but with Bo's help and maybe reassurance, and then just looking it over, you can see that it's gonna suck for a couple days, but you'll absolutely survive. A 13 is a hit. How do you kill one of these guards?
Yeah, I turn round to the one that's just hit Suna, and I take aim, and I'm right in the centre of the chest. You see a spark as it hits his chest plate and bursts straight through. He just crumples.
Next to you, one of the guards jumps down, and a massive double-bladed axe swings for him. On a miss, you see Grim rush forward, but Grim is unarmored. He's in this strange cloak. He's kind of weaker than you'd expect. He lifts this axe up. The guard jumping down ducks underneath it as the two of them begin to fight. Kalugi swings wildly at one of the guards and stabs him through the heart. It's a perfect strike. As he stabs and just thrusts forward, he looks shocked at what he's done and then looks back and says, "Hey, look at that, still got it." Pulls the sword out, and then another arrow flies over his head. The twins dash into action, scattering, one left of you, one right of you sooner as you deal with your arrow in the hand situation. One of them bringing their quarterstaff up, swinging at a guard. It hits the hard armor that they have. This guard bringing up, you're now seeing Tia swing towards a heavily armored foe. She hits the armor, jumps back, dancing away from him, readjusting her attack, as Varaz does the same thing, basically on the other side of you, swings low to try and hit the legs of one of these guards, misjudging how heavy they might be. Worston fires a gun, and pretty much the same thing. Two gunshots going off, one from Ippo, one from Worston. You see the bullet fly true, and you see a figure with maybe a helm on. Suddenly the helm dents in one place and he falls to one side with a perfect shot to the skull from Worston. I think that brings us around to everyone. Where are we? Yes. Everyone done something? Yeah, what are we doing next? Top of next round. Anyone doing anything in the positions you are in?
Heal myself. Mine's quick.
Yeah, what is it? Tell me what you're doing.
I'm using my heal ability, which is what Bo just did. It'll restore all of my hit points.
You can do that too. Okay, so you presumably snap this arrow, pull it out of your hand, and wrap it in something very quickly.
Very quickly, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. Zyra in front of you, bringing one of her two swords out and keeping you underneath this shield.
I'm okay. I just did it without thinking. I'm sorry.
Did you stay down?
I'm sorry.
Anyone else doing anything?
When we charged at the Primarch, did you say it was like going through him? Or just hitting the illusory wall kind of thing?
He has like a super clear glass pane in front of him.
Gotcha.
That's around him that would shield him from at least arrows. Aura ran into it full pelt and it didn't smash, but it can't be that thick. You can hear him clearly.
I'm gonna take aim. I'm gonna take aim at him with my bow.
Roll me a dice. 18. You bring this arrow into Songbow. You aim it up towards the thing. Suddenly a gun lowers itself next to you. Resting on your shoulder for a second, Worston brings this gun down to you, and as you turn around, he fires it. He fires his gun. Behind you, somebody is rushing up with a sword. You see this gun lower next to you. Worston fires the gun. It hits the ground, causing the fellow who was running up behind you with the sword to stumble, and he dives behind you. And you know what? I'm going to roll for that guy. Oof. Gets stabbed. Takes a hit for you. That is a Worston taking 2 damage. You feel this all happen, but it allows you to get this shot off. It's a perfect shot that flies true towards where the Primarch is. just next to where you're stood, Aura. An arrow hits the glass. It cracks the glass. The arrow dings off of it, and you see a crack of the glass in front of you that splits. You deal 2 damage to the glass. And Worston takes 2 damage as well. Let's see what Aura does, I guess.
Can I just ask something? Because you keep saying, like, what do I think is happening with a lot of things that I'm doing?
Yeah, now's the time to consider this.
I would like to, I'm throwing this out there.
Mm-hmm.
I am enraged and is there a little bit of magic left in me where I can use some hellish rebuke on this guy?
You can roll me a d20.
All right. I just feel this thing deep in my soul that goes, I can do more than what I'm doing right now. An 11.
An 11. You see Aura kind of stand there for a moment. She's so furious. The tiefling abilities to summon up a furious and righteous rebuke of fire. You see her raise her hand, click her fingers. Nothing, Aura. Nothing happens.
I'm going to channel that rage and I'm going to smash the shit out of the glass.
All right, that
break it.
Can do because it and any attack now on the glass will break it. So how does this look?
I take the arrow out of my side, I slam it into the already cracked part of the glass, then I take my other fist and I slam it and it just shatters into a million pieces and falls.
Yeah, standing behind it, the Primarch kind of sits back in his chair. As you hit this thing, it cracks even more, and then you hit it one last time and it just explodes. It falls into 1,000 bits of glass around you, around the Primarch. As you look at him, he looks shocked, but not necessarily afraid. He doesn't do anything immediately as you stand before him. But that is the end of your turn. Other party members who haven't been yet.
I'm going to use my upgraded flow, the core cost. You become wind until the end of the current fight. Minions cannot hit you with basic attacks unless they roll a 20. This effect ends if you are hit. So I'm going to use that and run towards the group. That'll be my justification of becoming like the wind.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
You start jumping over stuff, dashing under things. A couple of arrows fly over you.
And the motivation would probably be seeing Sauna get hit.
Yeah.
So
you start moving around this room in a...
I don't know if I can do an attack as well.
Frighteningly expert manner. I don't think you can.
Okay.
Let's see if you get hit by an arrow, though. You do not. An arrow flies at you. Wait, what does it mean? You can't be hit or until the end of the turn?
I can't be hit till the end of the fight unless someone rolls a 20.
Unless someone rolls a 20, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's insanity. But so Ellie, somehow.
Yeah, she's just moving around this battlefield like she's at home. And
she is, really.
Kind of is. She is the Wind of Death.
That's my girl.
Who else is doing what else, if anything?
I'm trying to go for the Queen's door.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that where you're moving towards?
Yeah.
We direction.
Ippo, you doing anything specific?
I'm going to back up and I'm going to shoot another archer. Zyra's close by and I trust her not to let anybody get close, but
Zyra's kind
far
of
away.
doing the shuffle backwards, Spartan style, with the shield above Suna and bow.
I can back up with her and kind of use her shield to balance my rifle and take another shot off it than an archer.
Okay.
I'm going to re-roll that with the bow re-roll.
Oh yeah, go on then. Two again.
Well,
You
Some things are set in stone, dear.
You fire, you see the bullet just stray wide. Maybe you hit the pauldron of one of these guards, but it's not enough to do anything that would incapacitate him as he is moving into the fray that's beginning to become a little bit more chaotic. A shot goes off. A second attack from behind you as somebody fires an arrow right back at you. On an 11, I think that's a success. We're just going
Yeah,
with
that's a
very
hit.
basic rolls. So you feel an arrow graze you, I think. It's probably a nasty thing, but it just
Gotcha.
catches you and you take 2 damage. And another arrow comes in on Bo. That's a 4. Another arrow for Suna. It's a 5. That's a miss. And then 1 for Zyra. All of these are hitting Zyra's shield. Zyra now has like 3 arrows. Thung, thung, thung. She's just taking them. She's eating them. It's easy. She's moving backwards with you as you guys kind of progress towards the Queen's door. However, there are 2 guards that step in front of the Queen's door and bring out long swords to stop you from walking straight in. Behind Aura, the twins engage 2 of the other guards that are next to either side of you, Aura. 1 twin. Swing and a miss again, dinging off of this kind of heavy armor. The second twin, Veraz, learning from the movement, kind of positions himself in a way where he gets behind one of the guards. He, instead of using the staff, kicks the back of one of these guards' knees and just shoves them off of the plinth that they're standing on, the slightly elevated area. The guard in all of this heavy armor falls really hard with a massive clank, and Faraz then jumps off the top of the plinth to follow up with the attack. Then we have 2 shots towards them. 1, 2. Tia straight up fails to combat with her guard. The guard kind of deflecting the quarterstaff shot and then bringing a sword down and leaving a wound behind. Tia takes 2 damage as well. Now has a gash open. Who am I missing? Kalugi versus Guard. Guard strikes Kalugi. Kalugi takes a bit of damage after finishing off one of the other guards. The second steps in behind him and gives him a rather nasty hit with a warhammer. Where are we now? Who hasn't been? Any of you?
Grim.
Grim. Attack. Miss. Takes another 2. Grim, not looking good. Takes 2 more damage. Kind of surrounded now. 2, 1 on either side of Grim. As he swings at one and misses, a second appears behind him and hits him. He swings wildly backwards, missing this one as well with this great axe. That is the end of that, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Was
Did Cairo go?
I think so.
Pyro
I think
went
she shot the
Did it?
glass.
The
Yeah.
beginning, yeah.
All right, yeah, the glass. Good.
Next. Yeah. All right. Top of the next one. Let's start with
Top of the
Aura,
next-
since you smashed open this glass and you're now standing in front of the Primarch, this old man.
Oh.
Okay, can I use 2 skills, or you only let me use 1?
Unless you have an ability that lets you use 2 skills, you can only use 1.
I don't. It's one I wish I did, but I don't think I have time. Does he have any weapons on him? Can I see that?
No, he has this staff. It could technically be used as a weapon. He's just sitting in the throne, though. Looks like he's an easy kill, honestly.
Yeah, my gut is telling me to use insight on him. But I don't know if I have time for that. I want to use my insight on him. I'm going to raise my sword, but I'm going to study him before I kill him.
What do you want to learn?
All right. Choose 1 effect. I can learn something the creature intends to do in the next 10 minutes. I can learn something the creature intends to accomplish over a long period of time. Or I can learn something they intend to do with a specific creature of your choice.
What do you want to learn?
I want to know what he's going to do over a long period of time.
You get the sense that he's not afraid to die at all. You get the sense that he feels very strongly that whatever has happened here with the Queen has trumped anything he ever understood. He seems born again, and very, very confident in the fact that he is nothing in this grand scheme of things. He, as you're looking him over, he says, "Do you consider yourself to be a good person, farm girl?"
I do. Do you consider yourself a good person?
I know it.
How do you know that?
We judge through our deeds.
He raises his staff and says, "Enough!" The fight slows to a stop unless you all decide to continue killing people. I'm going to roll 1 dice for Grim, who falls to his knees, weakened. He swings wildly, and then the axe lets go, and he's just buckles under his own exhaustion.
Wait,
Am I able to heal him?
Everything kind of stops. You're kind of surrounded
All right.
a little bit. Zyra holding a shield. Suddenly the men stand to attention.
All right.
and just put a hand in Suna's shoulder.
Stop fighting around you.
All right, all right, all right.
Nobody does anything to continue fighting.
I walk
No, I
up
lower
to the
my bow.
one. I walk up to the one that stabbed the twin, and I use sneak attack to incapacitate him.
Yeah, you grab him. What do you do?
I basically what it says is that I exploit his focus, and then by touching a pressure point, they fall to the ground unconscious.
Yeah, use Xena, grab
He's
him,
not
or
dead or
Spock,
anything,
or whatever.
but-
Yeah. There's a sound of armor as one of them falls down. The twin standing back kind of stops and looks over towards you sooner. Another twin looks over to you, and they slow and they stop and they step back for a moment before Faraz runs over to Tia and starts tending to her gash. She's kind of batting him off. It seems, again, relatively superficial, not too bad. There are a few bodies, some of the guards kind of laying either incapacitated or wounded to the point where they can't move. Some of them might be dead. For sure, the ones that took a bullet. Worston, loading his gun, stops and looks forward. Aura in front of you. The Primarch says,
You think you are the protagonists in this little story, don't you? That you were saving the world from some great evil. Is that right?
Oh,
Bent on some moral duty?
no, I didn't have a choice in this. I
Then
lower
walk
my
away.
sword.
Free yourself.
I'm too invested now. I can't do that. I've sacrificed too much. All of these people have sacrificed too much for me to do that.
he holds out a hand to you.
Take my hand then.
I don't know that I can trust you. Why would I do that?
I cannot trust you and you not me.
I look over my shoulder at Suna and Ellie and Bo.
I'm bewildered.
I'm trying to lockpick this door.
There's 2 guards
got
in
my-
front of it.
Oh, well, I'm gonna walk up to it anyway.
Start walking up. They bring swords down in that cross way that they do.
I take out my 2 daggers.
I think I'm just looking directly at Aura.
The
seeing what
Primarch
she'll do.
looks at Ellie and then looks to you, Aura, and says,
Must it be blood?
Ellie, stop. Don't do that.
You're really gonna take his hand? You're gonna take his hand? This guy. You know he sounds a lot like that guy that we fought before we all got sent here, right? You know he sounds a lot like him. Everything he says, the dancing, talking in riddles, never actually answering what you're saying, and then there being a greater power than us, and we should walk away and just let it be. Now you need to take his hand and join him. Like this sounds like I'm reliving a moment, having a little bit of deja vu.
I
No one
do
else?
not need you to join me.
and then he looks
Oh,
back
I'm not
to you,
gonna
Aura.
join you.
He says,
My word is my bond. I shall kill
What
no
do you-
more of yours, you shall kill no more of mine, and I will let you pass.
I yell over my shoulder, Ellie, can you do that?
I don't respond. I think you could. I think that if you looked at Ellie, you could see that she's like visibly disappointed.
I don't look back at her. I take her silence as I don't know what she's gonna do, but I hope that she knows, like with our bond, that I'm hoping that she will not draw blood. And I'm gonna reach out and I'm gonna shake his hand.
He takes your hand.
You believe you are good, and I know I am. These people have families. I wish for the best future.
He begins to stand up.
For this. Our country. Our world.
What does that look like?
You will see. Eventually, you will all see what I have already seen. Soothsayer.
Yes.
You haven't even let us see the queen.
Let them pass.
Let us see her.
The guards uncross their swords and step away. He stands up.
I immediately open that door.
Yeah, I walk in.
Weston kind of slowly meanders over towards the area. Kalugi moves over towards Grim.
I'll go in, but I'm not going in first because I just had a very brutal reminder that I don't. Yes.
Takes in his arms.
I'm
Go ahead.
going in.
Aura?
I look over my shoulder and I'll start walking down the steps, and I'll probably be the last one to enter the room.
You guys move towards this doorway. Ellie, you reach down and try the door handle, finding that it opens. You pull the handle, push the door, and each of you moving up behind where Ellie is, slowly one by one, each of you moves in to the room. As you each step in, this pretty large door opens to reveal a room filled with reds and blues and golds and silvers, a chandelier hanging above an enormous royal bed. Behind it, there are 3 oval paintings that depict these ancient queens. You see that the different queens' faces in these 3 paintings in particular are incredibly similar. There is a large window that's casting a single shaft of light across the room which illuminates the bed. There's a serving girl that kind of steps back, a hand over her chest in shock at the entrance of you strangers, some of you with blood. Upon the bed is a bundle of red and blue wraps, and inside it, as you each move into the room, is a child, no older than a month, helpless and squirming, his face curled into a little frown, his eyes open as you approach. They look towards you, Aura, at first, and then flicker across the rest of you before closing them, but you saw that his eyes were like fires, yellow, casting a little glow around them. This is Deaveki. The Primarch walks in behind you and says,
The queen was not human, nor was she a demon. She was something else. Her long life expanded through generations. Though she tried, she could not quicken with child until 19 days ago, when she vanished, and here lying in her place was this boy. I, along with several others of the Divine Order, felt it. A strength unlike anything I have ever known. It lies within him. This here is the most powerful creature Lacrin has ever yielded. It is no coincidence that on that day magic was stricken from the land, for we no longer need it. with him, like our fair queen, we shall be born anew. A new age has begun, one of prosperity, and his birthright is everything and everyone.
He steps back from the bed.
And I walk over to the bed and put my finger out to see if he'll grab my finger, his little hand.
He does. His little hand reaches up, kind of blindly feeling around, and you see this tiny little hand grab out and grab at your finger. It squeezes pretty hard. Quite strong for a baby.
Is there a presence of magic
No,
around
but
him?
you do. His eyes are kind of. When you saw them, they were very yellowed and kind of like a fire swirling within them. You haven't seen anything like that since the fall of magic. Anyone that had any kind of magical eyes like Suna lost their kind of odd looking or different looking eyes that they had. There was even a slight glow to them. It's not super bright in here, so I think you can tell that he has glow in the dark eyes, basically. But I don't think you get the sense of a strong resonance of magical energy or anything like that off of him.
I look towards Suna and I say, the eyes.
Yes.
Like my vision.
I see them.
Look at Cairo and I'm like, what are you talking about?
His eyes.
Is it bad?
I just nod.
I can't kill a child. I can't kill a baby.
Is that what it is?
Yes, look at it. It hasn't done anything.
But the
Is
eyes.
this-
The
What
eyes
did it do, Cairo?
crushed everything. The entire city.
Is this Dave?
Ruined.
Yeah, sort of. This is not what he looked like when I fought him, all right? I mean, he was big and scary and had big
See-
machine hands, all right? It did
Was-
We
Was that
disguised
19
himself.
days ago? When was...
It was about, yeah. It's been about that long.
So he survived.
It would appear so.
Well, it appears that the queen was his vessel.
He disguised himself as a baby, though.
I don't know if
Well,
he did.
he knows our, maybe it's just a rebirth. She was a vessel for his rebirth. How he could join this world one last time. Try
Hmm.
again.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. He hasn't done anything yet.
He's done.
Well, he's
plenty.
weak.
You said you done.
Yeah, but that was before. This is now. This is a new creature.
The visions, all the visions came true.
Yes, but that's a great example, actually. What about Worston? He didn't shoot you,
But destroying an entire city.
but he didn't shoot you, right?
But the eyes. It's not right.
While they're talking, can I use insight and try to learn something the creature intends to accomplish over a long period of time?
I think I would do the same, honestly.
Both of you look at this child. What do you think he intends to do over a long period of time?
I mean, in my mind, it would be what Cairo's saying now. Like, he doesn't plan on being this just and good leader. Like, this whole idea of like a new world starting means that he's going to level the current one.
Okay, then that's what you believe is going to happen. Aura, what do you think he's going to do?
I hear them all talking behind me, and I can see his eyes lighting up, right?
Yeah, every time he opens his eyes,
I think it's a chance to start new for him as well as everybody else. And I think that with the right guidance,
That's what I think too.
it could
Ellie
be a
doesn't think
better
that.
future.
I think, we could raise him more.
But who's to say that it isn't that? But he was just hiding inside the baby.
Oh, now wait a minute. I would. I had bad blood, as it were.
I'm the
I
same.
mean, his consciousness, his being is just. I mean, once he gets old enough to start doing what he was doing before, he'll just do it again.
I think maybe with the proper guidance, he might not.
What's one
Could
thing
you
we
have-
know about Deavaki? It's that he's always one step ahead of us. What's one thing he knew about all of us? We wouldn't kill a baby. It'd give him a chance to come back and do the evil that he was doing before.
Oh God! I walk over to this baby and I look at him. You remember me?
Scrunches his
Hello.
face up.
As
Makes a
in, he
little cooing
makes
noise.
a face at me. Oh! He doesn't remember me. Look at this. Look at this. Are you an evil man? Are you going to grow up to be a horrific devourer of immortal souls? Is that you? Is that you? He's kind of cute.
Is
Mhm.
when Suna comes over, can I use my nemesis just to see if I feel a negative energy or a good energy coming off of him?
Yeah.
Or even a
Uh,
neutral one?
Roll me a dice.
Okay. 11.
What do you think when you see this baby?
What do you mean by all this?
How does it make you feel when you see this child? Does it seem
I think
evil?
about
Does it seem good? Does it seem neutral? Does it seem like anything? First instinct?
first instinct is I think back to in the dream world how I was pregnant and like I was going to start my family. And I just look at this baby that does have crazy eyes, but if anything, I feel nothing in the sense of good or evil. It's just neutral.
Then
And
that's what you
calm.
feel.
I'll reach out and maybe touch Aura's forearm, because I think she and I both know what it feels like to be judged on appearances. Grow up as outsiders a little bit.
I put my other hand, my finger's still playing with his little hand, and I'll put my other hand on top of Suuna's and rest on my forearm.
Behind you, there's a dragging sound, and you hear Grim say, "Give me the fucking knife.
No,
I'll do it.
no.
This fucking thing is evil.
This child hasn't done anything.
Grim, it's just a baby.
I felt it.
There's
You
no
felt what?
magic. And he has those eyes?
I look at Aura and I'm like, sounds like you're gonna have to stop Grim if you don't want him to kill it.
You're putting. I know it's a baby, but you're putting everything at risk. Everything and everyone.
Well, who's to say we don't kill him and then he explodes and all of the magic goes everywhere and destroys the city? Who's to say that's not what causes it to happen?
I look at Cairo. I'm like, was it him that destroyed the city? Or was it an explosion?
Look like him.
Yes,
How
but
did he
you
do it?
also thought Worston was going to shoot you, and he didn't shoot you. Look at you, you're fine.
How old does this baby look? He's born 19 or 18 days ago. They're usually really tiny.
He's really
they can't-
tiny.
So he's like,
He's-
he looks like he's 18 days.
He looks, yeah.
Or 19 days or whatever.
A month old. You know, he's
Okay.
one of those looking super fresh baby.
I see too much of myself in this child without a mother. I think I turned out okay. I think with just the proper guidance, if we are there for this child, maybe he will not stray like in Cairo's visions. But Ippo is right. This is a great risk we are taking if we spare the child.
Well, I think he definitely shouldn't be raised on the throne thinking that his birthright is everything and everyone. That's insane. That's a
But
recipe
that's
for a
what's
disaster.
inside of him. Deavaki is inside of him.
Yeah, who's to say
He's
it
literally
wouldn't
inside
remember?
of him.
I'll take him back to Bane. He can help me plant
No.
turnips.
No.
I don't think that's safe.
You want to risk Deavaki being near Alvin? Near that guy that you ended up being with? You want to risk him being a monster in your own home?
This
Risking
looks
your
like
whole
a baby, but I don't know that it's a baby.
Well, nobody knows if anything's a baby. You don't know if the baby's going to turn out to
I'm pretty
be.
sure I know when there's a baby, and
Well, but what I mean is, you can't just immediately assume that someone is going to grow up to be a monster or not. You have to let them live. You have to let them make the decisions. It's not It's not our choice to just immediately say nope.
You're assuming that it's a blank slate. It's coming from the most powerful thing that ever thinged. Don't you think it
person who
would
knew
come
how to
back to?
restart cycles, keep us in loops, make us die and get tortured over and over and over,
Well,
and then
now
send
he
us
lives
into a
among us.
dreamland. Send us into a dreamland for a full year just to rip us away from it.
We're all mortal now.
And guess what?
And so's he, maybe.
What's one weakness that at least two of you have? And I look at Aura and I look at Bo. Both of you all were about to have children. And he ripped that away from you.
But this is not a story of revenge. It never has been.
It's Deavaki.
I'm not here for revenge.
I look at Grim. What's he doing?
Grim looks like you could throw a tomato at him and he would pass out. He's really kind of struggling to even stand, but he's probably leaning in the doorway maybe. He has a couple of new wounds. He's obviously still exhausted. He looks like he probably hasn't eaten for like a month, really. He's listening to you all, but he looks like his usual grumbly, angry self. Doesn't seem to be saying anything.
And Kalugi?
Kalugi is sort of tending to his wounds. He's not even in the room anymore. I think he came in, saw the baby, shrugged, and then walked out. Took some bottle out of his pocket, and is now dealing with the wound he took. The twins are also kind of stood at the outside of the doorway. There's a few guards and stuff around. The Primarch is standing there, kind of listening to you. I think there's a look of confusion across his face. You guys are discussing something he was definitely not expecting. Yeah, I think that the conversation that's being had between you all is being left to you all. Worston also relatively quiet on this, letting you figure out.
Suna,
Yes.
do you ever see anything about this with your thing?
I try to recall if I don't think I have, but did I? Maybe I did.
I will write to you.
All right. I think that maybe it's important, though, to think about even when we were there, fighting against him. What did he say? He said he was doing his best, right? He was doing what he thought was best. Still, even then, he was trying to be fair and just and, do what he thought was best for all of us. And we were, it was mind-boggling. We thought, of course, that's not right. He had no moral compass.
We
He
also
was just completely neutral. He didn't care. But if he's with us, raised by us, by our hands, not in some palace, no offense, Primarch, but we could just steal away and raise him with responsibility, and we could do this.
That's assuming he's a blank slate.
Even when
taking
we
a big risk. We broke in here. We killed people. We've went through the ringer and back. We broke the cycle. Now we're all gonna rely on the fact that one of us has to be a good mom.
Well, it's not one of us. It takes a village,
Yeah,
Wouldn't
it
just
takes
be
a
one of
village.
us.
And guess how many villages he's destroyed over every cycle?
But we don't know if this child is that?
It only took how many cycles for us to get here? You're willing to put all of that and us breaking the cycle on the line right here
Yes, I am.
for
Yes, I am.
like a 12% chance.
I don't
I
can't
don't
math
think this
that
kid
way,
is,
but I
don't think.
I
This
don't
kid's
think
good.
that's fair.
You're willing to let clearly there is some sort of magic in this child right now, and
Yes.
he'll be the only one with it.
Yes,
The only one.
that's right.
I feel like I was the one who's supposed to take over. I was supposed to be the one. Even when we talked with him, he didn't
You would
seem
have
like
just ended up another god slave like the other ones that tried.
I just think if you don't try, then how do you know? It's already gone to shit already. We've come this far.
You have
What?
tried over and over, and this is how we ended up here. All of us trying, going down a different route every time, and we ended up here. And what was the one thing, the one goal we had in coming here?
Saving the world, not killing a baby.
No, it was to get rid of Deivaki. I'm pretty sure. I know Aura was bent on it.
I was never bent on it. I wanted to find out what was going on and where he ended up. I never said I was going to kill him.
For what it's worth, I was under the impression that you were killing him, but
Yeah, I was
Why?
too.
But
we
because I fought
definitely thought he
Bob?
wasn't going to be a baby. We thought he was going to be the big
Exactly.
scary
So
monster.
it would have been great to come in
under-
here and kill a
Right,
man.
so just because he's wearing a different suit,
Do you know how backwards that is? I'm okay killing a grown man or an old
Yes,
man,
because
but
a
I'm
grown
not
man
okay
can
killing
make
a baby.
decisions. A grown man has the ability to think and to make mistakes or to choose to hurt someone or injure. This is a baby. This is a child.
Pretty sure people can be born evil.
No.
I'm pretty sure this isn't a natural birth.
Do you know that I was considered evil?
So was I.
I was
When I
too
was a
for being
baby?
on the streets. I was heavily judged.
Just because somebody looks different doesn't mean that they're bad.
Or even if their parents were bad. You remember my father.
You can come from something bad and you can still be good.
right? This is not my call to make, but you know how I feel. And I think from the arrow in my rib, even though it's been healed, I'm gonna plop down and sit. I'm exhausted.
Even if it's a trick, even if it's something that we didn't plan on, I feel like you have to give it a chance. And then, God forbid, something does happen later on, we can kill him then.
without magic, though, when he'll have a lot of it.
I don't think he's that strong anymore. I think his eyes are like a birthmark, like something that's left over. And it's a reminder that he will have to see as he gets older, but I don't think it means anything.
But there's a lot of things pointing to it meaning something, though. There's some visions involved, and he was that big thing, and that fella there, good Grim, he was saying that bait, the divine, the feeling, that big oh no that he got or something. So I'm just trying to make sense of it. I'm not arguing one way or the other. I just don't want. There's a lot at stake.
Well, remove the fact that he's a baby. Remove that completely and think about what he comes from and whatever you might think he is. How does that change things?
He randomly was birthed from a woman who couldn't have offspring.
Yes, well,
That was
magic
his
does
vessel.
weird things.
That was his vessel.
She disappeared technically, so we don't know that he was.
So she disappears and he appears in her place?
Well, we don't know that it was his intention to do that.
Well, remember
Oh,
that
we
she
don't know
got
if it's
sick first.
but
Everyone
I'm-
thought she
I'm-
was sick.
I think that was a cover up for her disappearing.
I do think that was a cover up for her going
So-
missing.
She goes missing. Let's say she goes missing after the baby comes, and you're just gonna say that that's a maybe good, not really bad thing. Like that
I'm
doesn't
saying
sound-
that magic does weird things, Ellie. What if her dying or her the one thing she wanted was to have a child? What if when magic was everywhere, she could do it? She could summon up a child. We don't know that it was Deiveki taking over the queen. We don't know
But it
any of
happened
this.
after magic was gone.
It happened at the same time magic left, did it not, Primarch?
How long has it been since magic left?
It's been about a
19
month,
days.
right? 19 days.
Oh, okay,
It
it
happened
has
the
been
day
19
magic
days.
left.
The Primarch looks across each of you and says,
She is gone. But how could this child have appeared? If not through her.
So you don't know how this... As he doesn't even know how this happened.
We
I look
presume
at
some
Suna
sort
pleadingly.
of rebirth. This is her.
What?
New way. But what you are saying confuses me. One thing I know is this child is good and will bring about peace, prosperity, unity to this world.
And
I
how
felt
do
it
you know that?
Because I had a strong connection, stronger than any other, to the divine.
behind from the doorway, Grim says,
Fuck you. I had a strong connection. That thing's fucking evil. Slit its throat. Let's go to the fucking tavern.
Hang on.
I trust
And-
him more than I trust this guy, and I'm talking about I trust Grim more.
Yeah. What did you Primarch, when you saw the things, was it what did it look like? Was it a scent, which sounds like dying and going to heaven sort of situation, and that doesn't sound
I
good.
felt it. I can feel
Felt.
divine presences. I always have been able to.
Can you still?
That
No.
doesn't mean they're good.
I can tell. I've always known. Fuck
Really?
you. So have I. He's full of shit. We all
I
can.
think he's just under its spell.
I think he's under the influence as well.
But what if the roles were reversed? You'd say they were influenced the other way. I just don't want to
We've
make
known
this
a lot
decision
about
out
Grim,
of
and
fear.
a liar's not something Grim's ever
I'm
been in
not
our
saying-
presence.
I'm not saying Grim is lying.
I
I'm
know.
saying that Grim fears this creature. That is true. And
Yeah.
obviously the Primarch doesn't fear.
Well, the
And I'm
twins have
saying-
had visions. Why don't you let them see the baby?
I look over at the twins. Do they even understand what's happening here?
I think they're not even in the room. I don't think they have any idea what's going on.
Oh, they didn't come in with me?
They're not there. They're just
Oh.
outside the room. They're within,
Oh, right.
view. But Veraz is kind of tending to Tia's cut. She's got a cut across her stomach, so he's just kind of looking at that at the moment.
Maybe they saw something.
Look, I don't think we're going to know one way or the other. We don't have magic anymore. We can't see the future like we used to be able to. We have to resign to the fact that we need to be able to live with our decision, whether it's wrong or not. We have to do
Well,
our best to make the decision we feel is right now.
I've made mine. And that's
I
it.
think we can put it up to a vote. That doesn't seem right.
I've made my own decision. You don't have to.
Well, he's
And
holding
then-
my finger. Can I try snapping my fingers to light like I used to?
Yeah. Roll me a dice.
14.
You start snapping your fingers. As you do so, he kind of giggles. But no magic.
Can I try to use scrying eye?
What does scrying eye do?
Nope, it was my old ability.
Okay.
The one where I could look at someone and see like their powers.
Oh yeah, you don't have that anymore.
I can't do that anymore. Okay.
No. That's become your like size them up ability.
Oh, okay. Can I use that?
Yes, it's a baby. You could kill it very easily.
Well, I want to know more about the magical side of it. Like the eyes. Does that remind me of anything that I might have seen in the past amongst people that I have encountered or seen?
No, not beyond Deiveki, who had very similar eyes.
I I think great power rested or rests within all of us. But that didn't necessarily make us bad or evil.
Right, but none of us magically appeared, and we're also possibly Diaveki, so...
With the disappearance of a queen. And with that, I'm going to step out in the doorway, not outside the room, but just in the doorway. Because I feel like I've said my piece.
Weston is standing there as well, and he looks at you and says,
I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I think maybe we should leave this to them.
I think you're right.
I feel like shit.
Yeah, let's let them talk. And I'll walk a little further out of the room with him.
steps away with you.
Oh boy. I'll use an ability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my in my own brain thing for a minute.
Okay.
Where is it? Sorry. Invoke. You leave your worldly body behind. Oh boy. You must be in a quiet place with no other creatures around to begin the ritual. While in this trance, you can only vaguely sense if there's danger around your mortal body. You may exit the trance at any time. You enter a liminal plane of existence and experience a place like a dream world in the stars that might be, well, that is what I experienced. So you may speak with a mysterious version of yourself. They may appear to look exactly as you do, as you once did or will. Or perhaps they are you, yet distinctly different. You must describe what you see each time. You may speak to this avatar for 1 minute about anything you like. If you ask any of these questions, the GM will give you a truthful answer.
Okay.
I'm going to ask 2 of those questions.
Asuna steps away for a moment.
Yeah.
Closes her eyes. And you find yourself in a field of stars.
Yes.
Maybe you have no real form yourself, but you can see these stars all around you everywhere.
Yes.
You see a form appear before you. Who does it look like? What form does it take?
This is bold, so tell me if I cannot do this. But I want it to look like this young boy will in 15 years.
Okay.
All right.
And what do you ask?
Are we on the right path? If I take you, if I help raise you, is this the right path to saving the mortal realm?
And you know yourself pretty well?
Oh, yes.
Then what do you answer?
Yes. I believe in my bones that it doesn't matter. He has powerful blood, not evil blood. That's what we've all had, is power. Not good or evil. The next question. So then, is that you answering truthfully then? I guess I've just answered myself. I can take that as the truth.
Answering truthfully?
All right. Then the other question is, how can I redeem myself? And I already know the answer to that too.
Then that is what is answered.
And I come out of this liminal space with more resolve than I had before. am not killing this child.
I am not killing this child either.
I am not either.
But I'm not letting him sit on some rich, wealthy throne being told that he gets everything that he wants. That's absurd.
No, we're taking him away from this place. Far
Yes.
away.
Not my area of expertise. I trust you, soon, so whatever you want to do, I'll
You're really
Like-
quiet.
support you.
I could
I'll
be
support
wrong,
you.
but I'd rather do the very best. And I think if we kill him now, I think we're becoming him, making the decisions out of fear. I don't want to do that. I don't want to fear what he will become. I'd rather give him the chance.
Better than anybody, you can change a person, so be in good hands.
I have to apologize, but I'm going to take aim and use Deadeye,
I will stop it.
if you can.
I
Just
can.
not-
I have an ability that will
Okay.
stop you, and I'll take it.
I take aim and focus my senses, automatically scoring a triumph. And then it disables targeted limb.
I take it.
Can I use cutting words?
Yes.
If a nearby NPC is about to attack someone, you may shout and disrupt the attack.
That's what I've.
You, Bo, Suna, Hippo, all move in front of this baby. Bo, what do you say as you see Ellie? She's moving blisteringly fast. She's going to get this shot off probably, unless, Ellie, if you really want to stop it at the very last second, you can. But what do you say, Bo? Because yours is verbal.
I have always loved you, Ellie.
Does that stay your hand? Ellie. Shot goes off. Sooner?
I take it. I take it instead.
Okay. Well, Hippo takes it instead,
What?
unfortunately. That is what he has had a secret clause this entire time.
What?
Any kill shot is that's aimed at you is taken by Hippo. You fire an arrow, Ellie. Hippo, you see this happen. Bo tries to distract Ellie. It's enough so that Ellie can't fire this
I think
thing.
you see Ellie flinch and then her eyes start to water. And so when it fires off, it just does not aim true at all.
Yeah. It hits Hippo. Hippo, you're struck in the chest. And you stumble backwards into Suna. You hit the bed. The baby rolls over and begins to cry.
I'm gonna pick up the baby and hold it close to my chest.
Cora takes the baby. From the doorway, you hear a voice that some of you recognize that Suna doesn't recognize. Say, "Enough." You see the High Reeve Weevil standing there. But he speaks with Zach's voice and says, "Come on. Leave them." If you fight them, they will kill you.
I think you see. I think even Zach, for the first time, sees Ellie like start to cry, and then I would just turn around and start walking towards him.
Oh, Ellie, we need you.
Zach, in disguise as an elven man, takes Ellie under one arm and says, "You are my child, and I would protect you, and I will do that now. Come. Leave them."
I think right before I leave, I just turn to Suna and say, I just don't agree with this decision. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love you very much.
I didn't want to hurt you.
It's okay.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You did your best. What you thought was right. I'm proud of you.
I love you all. And then I would walk out with Zach.
Ipawani.
Hippo,
Yeah.
roll
Can
me
I
a
heal him?
roll me a dice first.
I'm probably right there with Suna, trying to stop the blood. Anything I can do to help mend.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to console the baby and trying to help mend as well.
Hippo, you have an arrow in your chest. It's pretty bad. But you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
You
That's nice.
have an item in your pocket which just moved the arrow to one side.
Oh no. Is it the fucking beard oil?
There is beard oil spilling out, mixing in with this blood through the front of his tunic. The Primarch turns to you, Aura, and says, "The baby. Give me the child."
Think I can do that.
I'm taking an arrow for this decision, so we're definitely. Oh,
Oh, shh, don't talk, honey.
Clean that up.
I suppose it would be against my word to stop you, would it?
Yes?
And you would have to break yours to get out of here.
If you want what's best for everyone, just let us protect this baby.
should be breaking her word if she let the baby get hurt as well. So
Did you not see what just happened? We all stood in front of this child as one of our own took aim.
I saw it. And I believe that child will grow up to save us.
If in
Anyway.
the right hands.
Good hands. Or dark hands. It does not matter. Go then. And take the child.
I'll need a hand.
Oh, I've got you, honey.
Okay.
You guys leave the throne room?
Yes. I mean, if we can I'll pick up Ippo and patch him up.
Zyra
obviously.
is already carrying him.
Okay. Just be gentle with him. You know, he gets cranky if you're...
We jostle my arrow and sure.
The
I will
twins
put an
rush up
arm-
as well, probably to help.
I put an arm around Suna to comfort her.
I hope we're doing the right thing.
You listen to your heart, not your fear.
Look at the Primarch right before we leave and say, I promise to take care of him. We all do.
He will take care of you and all of us.
Well, we'll see about that. But I hope you're right.
Or you look down at this baby and he smiles up at you. And that is where we end our campaign. Aura sits upon a lonely tree stump in an open field. Buns flies joyfully around her, and a summer breeze blows, a single strong gust. Aura looks down, raises her hand, and presses two fingers together.